Welcome back, Patriots, for a special edition of the Bald Brad Show, where in about less than 20 minutes, 15 minutes or so, we'll be tuning into Donald Trump's interview by Elon Musk over on X. We're waiting for them to go live, folks. It starts again at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wanted to make sure that we went live early enough to get everybody in here, making sure all the bells and whistles are working, because this is going to be quite possibly, and I mean this in all literal sense, the biggest interview of the year. We thought Aiden Ross's interview with 500,000 people streaming in was huge. No. I think this is going to break records. Right now, let's just put this in perspective. Elon Musk has about 200 million followers, a little less, on X. He just posted 22 hours ago live conversation on X with real Donald Trump and me at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. That has 47 million views. He also posted 21 minutes ago that has 3.3 million views. He was also testing out Twitter, or also known again as X, the other day. And I don't think they're prepared for what's about to happen here, because this thing is going to get nuts. It's going to get crazy. And I got to make sure everybody is acknowledged here. We got a lot of people watching over at Rumble. We got Meredith, we got Brian, we got Patrick, we got Jennifer in the house. We got Take America Back. Amen to that one, brother. Always trying to take America back. We got Elon Musk interview Donald Trump. We got Trump Musk interview. I'm making sure we get all the tags going here, because we want to make sure that people can actually find the interview between Musk and Trump. So Musk-Trump interview. And we'll go over a little bit of news that's kind of breaking the day. Again, if you're just joining us, folks, we're doing a special edition of the Bald Brad Show where we will be tuning in to Elon Musk himself here on X. And I think it's going to be millions of people watching this thing. And other people aren't happy about this, by the way. Let me tell you, foreign countries like Europe are not happy about this interview. You have the left, these progressives that are losing their minds over this. I wouldn't be surprised if X was getting DDoSed at some point through this, that it just something happens. We'll see what goes on with it. How y'all doing in the chat? I see ya. Secret agents in here. Heck yeah, excited for this. Brian says Elon for Space Force. Yeah, well, hey, you know what? There might be some contracts in it for him. Absolutely. Elon Musk is a hero. Jeff, you know what? Think about it, man. If we didn't have Rumble and X, where would we be at right now? Calling out all the BS of the progressive left and the Democrat Party. It's bad. We got Gavin. Hey, Brad and Patriots. It's good to see you on now. It's good to see you too, brother. Always welcome here. Love you. Autumn. Hey, Autumn, I got your message on Rumble. It looks like somebody's impersonating me. Don't worry. If Dylan, I'll toss Dylan an email and see if we can get that person removed. So there is a person on Rumble that's impersonating me. And look, I told my wife, does that mean we've made it? Does that mean like we're kind of on that status now of making it, everybody? Where now we got people impersonating me on the internet? It's crazy. It's crazy. What's going on, Dizzy? Got my water. Got to stay hydrated, folks. You can't sit there and get those kidney stones. Let's see. What else do we got here? Musk. Let's do Elon, Trump, Elon, Donald interview, Elon Musk and Donald Trump interview, Twitter interview, making sure we got all the tags in there, folks. I know this is something you don't normally see or actually want to hear about, but we got to make sure we get it in, folks. That's what she said. Oh boy, we got a lot of stuff going on today, folks. If you're just joining us, welcome. If you're joining us on X, couldn't be more than happy to see you here. I mean, everybody's going to be doing this, folks. So the fact that you chose this platform to check out this interview, I couldn't be more than happy to have you with us, really. This is going to be freaking bonkers. It's going to be a bonkers interview, let me tell you. We get rid of that. All righty. Let's make sure everything's set here. Should we put entertain? Let's do news and politics. That's what we're at here, folks, right? That's why we're here, the news and politics. We got God, Truth, Country. Looking forward to watching Trump. Globalist, Trump and Elon. Absolutely. It's so tiny. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Laser. I'm supposed to wear glasses. All right, let's make sure we got up and running correctly on the YouTubes. There we go. All right, here we go. Let's go, folks. We're just waiting. So again, if you're just joining us, we're getting in a little bit early, about 10 minutes before the interview actually starts. I want to make sure all the Patriots are able to join the chat and the stream. We'll be going live with them. As I mentioned, we're just waiting here for the back end. Trump has arrived. We looked at the video clips. Let me see. Matter of fact, if I could pull that up for all of you, we'll see if it's still viewable. But Trump showed up. Elon is in fact in the building. And I wish they were doing it on Rumble, but don't get me wrong, it makes sense while they're doing it over there on X. So Donald Trump is in the house. It looks like I can't find it, but see if we can pull it up here, folks. Here we go. Got it right here for you. All right, so this comes from Apex. It's going to be a little bit loud, so sorry to blow your eardrums out. This first clip is Elon being asked if he'll take on Mark Zuckerberg. So we've seen that before. Here's his response.
All right, I'll fight him. I'll fight Zuckerberg any place, anytime, any role.
Can I get a picture with you? No, I'm sorry. Can I get a picture with you?
Musk is awesome, man. He's such a quirky dude, but I love it. And here's the man, the myth, the legend, baby, Donald J. Trump. Hopefully, Mr. 47 in the house. I see all of you. I see you. Look at that. Oh, yeah. We're going to take the country back. Hopefully that's the case, man. I'll tell you what, Kamala Harris is freaking flipping on a dime on all her policies. You guys seen, we talked about it a little bit in this morning episode, huh? Where she's just flipping, I'm for protecting the border. If I'm elected president, I'm going to sit there and fix things. It's like, you're vice president now. Why don't you just get up your ass and fix it now? And it's funny because all these people are behind it. Oh, she's going to fix it. No. She's going to fix it. It's like, well, why didn't she just do it 3 years ago? Why are we waiting now? So I don't know if we need Donald J. Trump's space here. I'm trying to figure out exactly where this bad boy is going to be going live. Let's see what this has to say here. Let's tune in here. So it says just listening. Is it going to just be audio or is there no video on this? So you cannot join the space since you are already in a space. Oh, okay. Well, that might ruin things here in a second. Interesting. Let's see if maybe we could tune into Benny Johnson's show. So let me see if I can get that prepared. It's not letting us join it. So let's see Donald Trump. Let's see if we can get on Trump's. So maybe it's just going to not be video then, folks. What are y'all saying in the chat? Hey, what's going on, Jeff? Brian, I see you guys in there. So it says you cannot join this space since you're already in a space. Okay, so maybe I need to drop from my Twitter. I'm assuming because I'm streaming on Twitter, I need to drop from it. So let me see if I can do that here. Broadcasts. And then we'll end our Twitter feed. Okay. I see all over there. There we go. Now it's audio only, Brad. Oh, is it, Pat? Okay, thank you. All right. Well, that's gonna be kind of weird. Just looking at my face. Oh, it got taken. Look at it's down. Space is not available. Wow. Did it go down for everybody? I thought this would happen. Did it go down? Let me see. It might have went down, you guys. I think so many people are trying to join. What? Let me see. Hold on a second. I think so many people are trying to join this right now. Broke the internet. It might have. I mean, there's over 100,000 people. It's not loading for me. Hey, somebody check in here. Is it loading for you guys? Let's see what the chat says. Crashed. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So Brian says it crashed. Anybody else have crashed as well? I was talking to my wife about it before this. I was like, this is insane. I mean, my Twitter won't even load. Can you guys get on Twitter or X? I keep saying Twitter. I'm so sorry. Instead of fixing the border issue, Kamala went to Guatemala to see why people are coming. Yeah. Isn't that crazy, the architect? Isn't that wild? She flew over the border rather than like surveilling what the hell's really going on. Jeff said you're in? Really? Yo, my Twitter won't even load, dude. Look at that. I can't even click on anything. Internet buster. Meredith on the Twitter. I got Twitter, man. Look, I mean, you guys are seeing it. It won't even load for me. This is bonkers. Let me take it down. Let's see. Let me try to do this. We got a backup plan here. I don't know if this will work. Try to make things work for the people. All right, so we did this route. Okay, so let's go on to. Okay, so Elon Musk said my use of the word conversation is deliberate. This is for the people. Okay, so let me see if I can get in this way then. Is there just too many people? Are we gonna have to go into somebody else's stream? Because I can't get in. Well, this sucks. Just checked Benny on ShitTube. Seems to have crashed. Okay, so it's not just me then. All right. I follow Benny. It's just funny that you said ShitTube. Oh yeah, his Twitter is down too. Yeah, you're right. You're the best, Brad. Appreciate you. Oh, thanks, Robert. I appreciate you, man. That's really kind of you guys. Look, you know what? I don't know if you guys saw, but I said Europe's not wanting this to happen. There's a lot of people who do not want this interview to happen. And we said, hey, look, it wouldn't be surprising if they're getting DDoS or something's going on here. So let me refresh. You guys give me intel as well, because I'm just seeing it from my end. I want to make sure that I'm trying to sit there and support you the best way possible of trying to get this up. But I'm whoa. Let me see, Benny. Just popped in and say, hey, I can't chat though. Dog and puppies. Oh, okay, cool. Cool, Liberty. That's awesome. Congrats on the puppies. Yeah, it's not just me.
We'll have to let them smooth this out, but
yep, there you go.
Oh no.
Yeah.
All right, on your end.
Yeah. Okay. So Dizzy says I am in. Well, it looks like everybody's trying to get in on this. I knew this was going to happen. It's funny because so like I mentioned, Benny went over and he's been kicked off as well. So we'll just try to wait till they get it up. I think they're trying to sort it out. Elon Musk was streaming like Diablo the other day. He's like, oh, it's working. I'm like, bro, I don't think you realize like how many people are going to try to come into this conversation. I think it's bonkers. And quite frankly, I expected this to happen. I expected this. So this is what, I mean, could they open up multiple speakers? Because look, none of it's available. Trump's not available. Musk isn't available. Brad, just curious, but what's the badge I have next to my name? Let me look. Jeff, you have, that's the American Patriot badge. So I have it in my closet. That's the if you look on my website, like the Bald Brad store, that's the American Patriot, and then it has like the American flag behind it. It's a sick logo. I wish it came up a little bit better, but that's the one you have. So the badges will progress the longer that you've been a member on the channel. And after I think that one, maybe, I think it goes to either Don't Tread on Me and then maybe the shield. The shield is for, I think, those that have been around for like 6 months or 12 or something like that. You can connect being, okay, anonymously. So should I log out then? Is that what you're saying? It's sick. That's awesome. Oh, cool. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I'm glad you like it, man. I made them myself, so all the badges are made by me. So I like them. I try to present things like the book, right? If I'm gonna create something, I want to create something that I would actually wear or something that I think would be cool, like having next to me. So that's why we made them. If you're over on Rumble, glad to have you guys over there. I see you're rocking and rolling. Heck yeah. Look, we're trying our best to get in. I don't know. Benny can't get in. Nobody can get in. Yeah, so everybody. I'm looking at Gerald A, who's the CEO of Louder with Crowder. He can't get in either. Um, I told you it was the interview of the year, and they broke the internet. Do you know what kind of infrastructure Elon has on this? And it's like just too many people trying to join at once. Oh, this is awesome. Heck yeah. At the Architect, I will wear it proudly. Love being part of the Bald Brad Army. We all stick together. Exactly right. Love that, man. No, we really do. I mean, we have so many regulars in here. It's awesome. It's kind of even fun for me knowing that when I do the show, I kind of already have an idea who's going to be in the chat. And it's really nice because it gives a name to an individual or an audience. And you feel like you're hanging out with friends. You're hanging out with people that are familiar. That's what I love about the community we've created here. And I mean, you guys know all each other, right? I mean, you see the same names in the chat every day. And what's cool is that, we've been a little over 3 years starting this channel from grassroots, just me and then you guys coming in and supporting and all those things. So it's cool to see the growth that we've had here and the community growing together. Are other people in it? Like, are you guys hearing anybody else that are able to stream it? Let me know. Because like I said, I'm just getting the spinning wheel of death right now. And this is Ben Johnson.
148,000 likes, 500,000 likes, 148,000 retweets, 27 million views. This is the power of this platform, man.
I mean, Donald Trump tried to post on the Spaces, right? His chat. Folks, it has 3.7 million views just from Donald Trump alone. I don't think this is going to work, to be quite frank. I hope it does. But we'll see. If it doesn't, hey, you know what? We'll have to figure something out. I mean, they freaking broke the internet. Oh, Kamala can't do this. I'll tell you that much. Kamala ain't breaking no damn internet. She might break a nail, but that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it, folks. Get the chat a little bit bigger for me. Whoop, that's a little too big. Oop. All right. I love reading your guys' chats, especially while we're hanging out, just trying to get this thing going here. I mean, everybody's streaming this, right? Should go in ABL's chat and see if he's having issues. Hit the thumbs up, guys. Thanks, Meredith. I appreciate that. Hey, if you guys are over on Rumble, just be careful. There is somebody that's acting as an imposter. They're playing it off like they're me. Thank you to Autumn for that message on the comments. It's just another clarification that I do read the comments. She was saying somebody was impersonating me, and sure enough, there is. So if you see somebody saying, I am Bald Brad, it ain't me. You guys, I am the only one. I have a verified tag next to my name. Let me just show you where that's at. You see in the bottom left there, I have a Rumble sign and a check mark, and it says verified. That's me. So you will see Bald Brad. If you're seeing anything like trying to sell you something or whatever, that ain't me in the comments. The only time you're going to get me trying to sell something is on live stream or whatever, saying, hey, buy the merch, buy the book. Just checked my Rumble feed. Bannon's War Room and Drew Hernandez look to be in. Okay, well, let's see what's going on here. How the hell are they in? It's not even up. Really, Steve? Okay, let me check. Steve Bannon War Room. Let's do it. Let's see if we can get that up. War Room. Steve Bannon's War Room. I don't see it. I mean, they're playing an ad right now, so I don't know. Time lag here. Kamala broke. Oh my, Jennifer. You gotta say that over at Rumble. You're gonna get us in trouble over here. Oh my goodness. You guys are too much. I love it. I love it. Nope. Still spinning wheel. Okay. Are you guys Brad Beer and Patriots? Damn right, that's a good night, my friend. Let me see what's going on with ABL.
Now, I think Elon might have the space up, but it might be a little bit difficult because this is most certainly going to test the system. All right. So let's go ahead and see if we can get into the space.
Yeah, so we'll see if ABL. By the way, if you look at that back right of ABL, you see that
but
book
it's,
there,
it's
folks?
having a hard time. Yeah, it's definitely having a hard time. So look, I'm going to show you what I'm trying to.
So nobody can get in. This is wild, you guys. It's kind of cool, though. I mean, look, as much as we want to hear him and what Elon have to say, it just shows you how bonkers this is.
Abandoning a company in which people invested in.
Got
And
Tim
so
Pool here.
the stock, I mean, I'm wondering, I'll check DJT
Is there like
right now.
a time limit on it, though, maybe? Like for this amount of years, I won't use Twitter?
That's what it was supposed to be, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough, too, because they have to prove damages. So by Trump.
Let me see what the war room is saying. Here, let me tune in. I don't hear anything. It says mics are muted. I don't hear anything from Steve Bannon's war room. And Steve Bannon's war room, I think, just crashed. Wow. This is crazy, you guys. Oh, hell yeah. So, I don't know. Well, you're just going to hang out until see if they can get it going. They might be talking right now and they don't even realize. I don't know. Have you guys seen any updates? Trying to make sure I read the chat here. Let me go to my Rumble one. It's just a little bit easier to read. I could see you guys both on This is a little scary. Nobody has a feed. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, guys, you got to understand, you're probably talking millions of people. It's no exaggeration. Millions of people trying to get in all at once. And that's not a normal stream. You know what I mean? To give you a comparison, when Aiden Ross was streaming on Kick, what was that, like a week and a half ago? He had 500,000. You are talking millions of people probably trying to get in to listen to this right now. And they're just getting bombarded. And I don't think they're going to be able to fix it. Hopefully I'm wrong, but they're not even up and running right now. The biggest election in all American history. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the closer we're going and hearing Kamala Harris speak, as well as who her VP candidate was, yeah, at least in recent memory, I mean, Barack Obama on the campaign trail, like I said, sounded more of like a middle centrist Democrat. He had some things that were a little progressive, of course, but compared to what his presidency looked like, I mean, there are two opposites, and that's what's fearful right now with Kamala Harris, right? Is the things she used to say and what she's saying now is a little bit scary because she's flipped the script. I'm gonna fix the border, no tax on tips. It's like you didn't used to say any of these things. You know what I mean? So I think she's just a liar, and I think she's flipping because she knows. Try getting in now, Brad. All right, I'll check it out. Let's see. I just tried and it froze on me. So let's give I don't know. Let's try Donald. I've tried, but it's not working. Look, I keep trying. Oh, here we go. Baby. There we go. Yes. We're in. We're in. All right, let me put these on. It's hard to hear. So audio there. I'm gonna mute it for a bit. I'm gonna mute it for a bit because I get kind of hey, we got in. We're in like sin, baby. So if you're just joining us, we're just waiting for him to go live. That's all. So maybe I'll leave it like that so you guys can see. It is the biggest. It seems like it's a joke, but this very well might be the biggest interview in history. We'll see. Put it on the big screen. There you go, Lily. There you go. Put me on the big screen. I'm just glad we got in. I'm glad we got in. I ain't touching nothing. Let me tell you, it was a hassle getting in here. It might crash again. You guys, there's like big wigs in here. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene's in here. Trump's in here. Look at these people. Look at the people. Wow. I mean, there's some big names in here, huh? Look at that, huh? Brad Play, some Lee Green. I can't. I'll get flagged. That's the thing. Actually, you know what? Let's play it. You're damn right. No. We're gonna do it. Let me block this out. Let's play some green. Ooh, can I can't mute it though. I can't because it will I can't because I don't know you can't hear it's playing music. Oh wait, no, we can. Oh, I got this. Hold on. Your boy has this. All right. Let's do this. We'll do the let's do the older version. Yeah, Lee man. He's the man. He's the man. Let's see what we got going on here. Let me unmute this really quick. Nope. Still waiting. Did it crash again? Yeah, people I don't think can get in. I think it crashed again. We're not doing anything. I'm not touching a single thing, man. We're in like sin, baby. We're in like swimwear. Let me know. I'm reading the chat, guys. Obviously, I'm in here with you. God bless America. We'll run some Lee again. We'll put that sucker on loop if we have to. Does anybody else having issues? Let me see. Go back to me real quick. The face of the show. Let me see. I think ABL's having issues. I'll see if ABL wants to jump in our stream with us if he can't get in. I wanted to offer to him, so I'm having ABL. I'm telling him he can hop in my stream if he wants.
Twitter got to tighten up when it comes to their ability to serve video and ability to do live events. Remember, I think DeSantis tried to do something like this, tried to announce his presidency.
Worst case is maybe I'll just take my video feed off and mute, and if everybody wants to use it, they can hop in here.
But the problem is,
but for those who are just joining us, we're in like sin, man, and I ain't touching nothing.
And stuff like this, and this is not even video. This is just audio. They're just not ready. I have too many open sessions. No, I don't. I'm only doing one at a time. When I'm trying to look at it on
he's not
phone,
looking.
It's just not happening.
I want to make sure I help him out. He's a huge he supports me, guys. I love this man. If you mean
open sessions as far as being logged into Twitter, that's not going to make a difference because I've joined spaces, I participated in spaces. No problem before.
I just clicked it. Fuck. Wait. Wait. No, Twitter crashed. But I can still hear it. Hold on a second. Let me get off of that. Oh, what? No, don't do this to me. Yeah, no, it's down again. I think the music was just on loop. I can't even get on X anymore. No! Don't do this to me. If you're just joining us, we got a lot of people joining us, folks. Look, we were in for a bit. We had it. We had it. And now it's down again. We're going to keep trying, folks. We're going to keep trying. It's down again. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're trying, folks. We were in for a bit. We were in for a tiny bit. I'm going to keep trying. I'm here. Let me see what's going on with Benny. Everybody's trying to get it. Dude, this is awesome. If you guys weren't here, we were bumping Lee Greenwald. You know what? Let's do that right now. No, let's bump some Lee Greenwald. God, we got to do it. We got to do it while we're doing this, right? So they are. I mean, DDoS though doesn't. I mean, everybody's trying to join, right? So I mean, that is one form of a DDoS attack. I mean, it doesn't even mean that it's anything malicious, but let's see what we got on YouTube. So some people are able to get in. So it's a good look. It's a good learning moment, I think, for Elon, right? But look, he should have known, man. He should have known that this was going to be bonkers. Let me see. Worst case is we just jump into somebody else's feed and we watch it and we just get hit. Brad going full throttle on the league. Like, I mean, it's freaking patriotic. So let's see here. Okay, so here's the game plan, folks. All right, if you're just joining us, welcome. We're waiting. We're trying to get in as well. I think it was taken down, okay? Or maybe not. So here's the thing. If they do take the stream down, which I don't think they're going to. Brad going full throttle. I want to try to time it to where if they reset it, that we could jump in at the beginning. Because we got in with about 35,000 people, and now we're out. So Marjorie Taylor Greene was in, but she's not streaming. I'm sure everybody's trying to bounce around to everybody's streams to see who has it up. Alex Jones has room. Alex Jones on Rumble, right? So maybe we can pull him up for a little bit while we're waiting. The quartering. Is he trying? Let's see. Yeah, see, everybody's trying to get into other people's streams. So you guys are saying, okay, so who is that? That's InfoWorlds? InfoWorlds, of course.
It looks like it went away. They just did a quick update in the space where they said there was a cyber attack, and now they're back to the hold music.
Okay, so people were getting booted. It wasn't just me then. I still can't get in, though.
Sorry about that, guys.
This is what's going on.
Hey, this is the foolproof strategy to go with.
So it's just the music still. So I think they're still trying to figure out the viewers now is 200,000. Yeah, and we were in at like 40. We'll still keep trying. Let me try Elon. I didn't want to go through Elon because he has more followers than Trump does. So we'll see here. I mean, it could be malicious. It totally could be. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know. If you're just joining us, welcome, folks. If is anybody new here, we do a morning podcast, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We go over the news. Is it Is it Alex talking? That's what I have. Yeah, he has Troy on there. It's a few other people.
This is the foolproof strategy to go with.
But I mean, their stream is going up, so which is always. I mean, there's a lot of people that watch it. If you guys know of somebody, we'll hop in their stream. I don't think anybody's gonna sit there and kind of, oh, well, that's copyright. I think we're just trying to all work together to see who has it. Infowars.com. Let's see if ABL's in it.
Matter of fact, let me see if I can show it to you in real time.
So, let me see here. Let me try something else. Let me try this. Oh, you can't. So I was in on my phone for a second, and it booted me. Let's try this. Nope. Yeah. Damn. I think it's showing for people, and I think it's just rough. What does it say? It is him talking right now. Breaking Elon Musk says X is being hit by massive DDoS. Yeah. Distributed now attack. Tesla has already explained it was pre-recorded, and we're going to hear it after the fact. I don't know if that's true or not. Elon mentioned that they might just pre-record it and then upload it. We're testing the system with 8 million concurrent listeners earlier today. Yeah, but those 8 million might have come in over a certain time frame. So Elon just posted this 3 minutes ago. We tested the system with 8 million concurrent listeners earlier today. There appears to be a massive DDoS, so we'll see. They don't want the people hearing. Yeah, this is correct. I mean, if it is in fact, I mean, folks, you could have foreign countries. You got the Iranians sitting there already hacking the Trump administration, allegedly, right? So this could be jumping into a foreign adversary. Who knows? I don't want to sit there and mislead. Again, take it with a grain of salt. It's not like I have any intelligence on that or anybody behind closed doors. If you're just joining us on X, folks, couldn't be more than happy to have you with us and join us in choosing our platform to sit there and run the show. We're waiting. Everybody's waiting. There are some people that are in. Worst case is we hijack that stream and we jump in, baby, with them. I think all conservatives are going to work together right now to try to hop in. Look, it just goes to gray bar. Just gray bar. So we'll see. We're going to make it happen. If not, you know, hey, we'll see. So we'll see. I'm going to keep that up. Is Tesla live? I can't tell if this is a legit stream or not because it's supposed to be audio only. Is Benny Johnson in yet? What do you guys got on your end? If you see...
Our production team will continue to voraciously attack this issue, but unfortunately, and I hate it when this is the case.
So we will proceed with a smaller number of concurrent listeners at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Oh, that's too bad. So, and then post the unedited audio.
These issues are out of our hands right now.
That's a bummer. So we're going to stick with it. I'm going to sit here and see if we can maybe get in from somebody else's stream that is able and is in the room right now. I know Gerald A was in there. Folks, we're in like sin again, baby. We did it. We're in. All right. So, do I touch the keyboard? I'm not touching this side of the screen, all right? We're in. We're in, Pat. We're in, baby. Benny is now. Yeah, okay. So it looks like we got some people in. They might have reset it and we just got lucky. Oh, okay. Whew. I heard a glitch, man. Check your chat, Brad. I said get in 10 million times a lot. I'm sorry, Jeff. Jeff, I'm sorry. Jeff, I got in now. We're good. I'm in. Okay. Hey. We're in. Jeff's like, get in now. For the love of God. I love it. Thanks for the support, brother. You know I love you. Have y'all looked at the outage map? Jeez, no, I have not. Is it bad? Sit on your hands now. Look, I will touch this side of the screen. I ain't touching the side that you guys view. We're in. Tell your friends and family. We're in. Like I said, worst case is, you guys, I will turn off my mic and my picture so that other people can just hop in my stream. I think
this President Trump's biggest fundraising day ever. And you can see I'm in there.
All right, so people are getting in. Good. Okay. All right. We're in. Turn that off for a bit. I loved it too, Jeff. You know that. I sound kind of like the Joker there for a second. You know what I mean? A little bit like Joe Biden. It's consequential. Come on, man. Oh, you tweeted the map to me? Look, here. You know what, Lily? I'll have to look at the map later. I don't want to touch Twitter. We got it good. We got it going. I'm scared. Should we do an ad read right now while we wait? Let's do an ad read right now while we're waiting. I want to talk about this, folks. You know they take care of us, so we're going to take care of them. We talk about it all the time. It's called Be Naked. If you're one of those people who use the phrase toxic masculinity because you're intimidated by real men like Mawa here, who embrace their primal instincts, you should probably turn this off right now. No, literally turn it off, because this is a conservative Republican podcast. We got a lot of independents. Couldn't be more than happy to have you here. As a man, you are the rock people depend on, a shoulder to cry on, a fighter, a lover, a protector of many. We at Rumble created what's called Be Naked, a brand that celebrates manhood and champions masculinity. Men with real balls, not like Joey or Kamala, that share our enthusiasm for clean, non-woke, and agenda-free products dedicated to helping you dominate every challenge that life throws at you. Because we all know that life will always test us, they'll push us, and folks, it will challenge us. So when life kicks you right in the nads and you need to get packed harder, you need a tap into this primal strength. This is why you need our supplement, Naked Organs. Our signature product will help you unleash your inner beast. Naked Organs come from the purest, strongest animals on earth, baby. The fearless bison. God, should we call Trump that, the fearless bison? It's nature's multivitamin powerhouse, delivering endless energy, regulating hormone health, boosting testosterone, and enhancing muscle recovery with natural creatine. Go to Be Naked right now and pick up some of those organs. Folks, if you use code STUDIO, you'll get 15% off your subscription, which is great. And get jacked, start lifting, get healthy, folks. Thank you so much for listening to that. We've talked about them before. They're actually great. They're actually really, really great. So again, it's just the music. I don't know if you guys want to listen to that. I'm going to switch to Rumble on my phone and TV. Hey, love that, Mark. Join us over there, brother. Give us a follow over at Rumble. We got a lot of people joining us. Oh, here we go. I hear Mike's moving. What's going on, Jason? Good to see you, brother. You came right in time because they're about to start. I'm hearing Mike's ruffle. What happened? I haven't touched anything. Like, Like Dizzy say, sit on my hands. My hands are on my lap. So there's no music playing anymore. We heard some mics being ruffled. I don't see Elon in there anymore. And I don't know. We'll just sit here and wait. We'll wait to see what happens. How you guys been though? How was everybody's weekend? I don't ever get to ask that really so much. How was everybody's weekend? Do anything fun? Let me know. I didn't do anything over the weekend. I worked a little bit. The wife wants me to put this up on the TV. Yeah, do it. I don't know if I'm supposed to be hearing something. It's just quiet. Just peaceful. Like ASMR, just listen to my voice. Close your eye. Breathe. Woosah. What's going on, Kelly? Good to see you. Pat, nice to have you in here. Pat Harger, we got a lot of Pats in here. I gotta be careful. So it hasn't started yet. No, it hasn't started, Pat. They had a lot of issues. So we're in. We've been in twice now. This is the first time we got in with like 35,000 people, and then something happened. And then now we're back in. I'm not touching anything. So they were playing music. Right now it's just quiet. Donald Trump, the host, is not saying anything, but we heard some ruffles. Unless they crashed again. So we are in. And I don't know if maybe I should move myself for just today. It's over here. Let's see. Did it crash again? Let me check this out real quick.
Have it work earlier, and then he said, "Who will proceed with the smaller number of concurrent listeners at 8:30 Eastern, and then post an unedited audio immediately thereafter." So I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they're going to have a space that's not available to the public to hear live, and they're going to record it. And once they are done.
So ABL is having the same. Okay, so they just got Elon in. So that's new. He just popped up right there. He wasn't in there before. So Elon's in now. So that means that we haven't lagged out, which is good. I always check like see, we're kind of like the fish that kind of suck to the sharks, you know what I mean? We're like the bottom feeders for now. That's going to change over time, folks. We're going to be as big.
We bought as many tickets.
Yeah, we're going to be as big as the other ones one day. We're like the sucker fish that tries to feed off the greats. We stand on the shoulder of giants here. Hey, Star, how's it going? Danielle, I see you. Good to see you, folks. Heather, Trump is host. Elon is on my X. Yeah, so Trump is, I think it depends on who you're going with, right? So, man. Yo, if we are in and a lot of people aren't able to get in, man, we got lucky, guys. We really did. We got lucky. Biden snuck in and tripped on the cable. Jeez, But here's the messed up thing, right? So Dizzy said this. Biden snuck in. He said this over at Rumble. Biden snuck in and tripped on the cable, and the show is down. The thing was, remember, we called this out many of times, and this came from his own White House aides, that they were terrified. This came out like 2 years ago, maybe longer, that Biden would trip over a camera cable in the Oval Office and just, that's it, done. Who would have thought? Now, who would have thought that it would have been a camera cable, but in actuality, it was Nancy Pelosi that took Joe out? I mean, who could have bought that bet? Who could have placed that bet? Camera cable? Teleprompter? Nancy Pelosi. I don't know. Yo, think about it. Really, think about it. If you guys are like, well, I don't know. I had my money on Nancy. Really? You thought Nancy after retirement was going to freaking crawl out of her grave and sit there and push Biden out of office? I mean, folks, that was not on my bingo card. Not on my bingo card. I mean, that is a bet lost. You didn't miss it, Kathleen. We just and they've had a lot of issues actually, but we're in. They're just muted right now before they're playing music, and we're just waiting. As far as I'm aware, it's muted for everybody else, so we're just waiting. You guys are on time. You're late, but you're on time. Now, this isn't like Karine Jean-Pierre late. This is just technical difficulties because, quite honestly, you're having probably millions of people trying to get in at present time. My daughter's trying to get in and can't do nothing. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. But we're in. The architects see we're in. So rather than her try to get in, you should just send her the stream. Or maybe it's not PG friendly. I don't know. There will come a day when Brad won't have time to talk to us. You know what, Dizzy? That's the sad thing. And don't worry. Oh,
all right. Hello, everyone. My apologies for the late start. We unfortunately had a massive distributed denial of service attack against our servers and saturated all of our data lines. Like basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We think we've overcome most of that, and so it's now time to proceed. But as this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and but I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview.
Thank you, Kelly, for joining
So
us.
for
Thank you
and
so
this is
much.
really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who just trying to make up their mind. And so you can understand like what is what is it just like to have a conversation. So honored to Donald, great to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people. And it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices. Usually those are voices that have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And
Yeah.
so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on breaking every record in the book tonight. That's great.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, maybe we could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that, your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. You, instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is America. That is strength under fire, and so that's a big part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here. Is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant. I have to be honest. I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about, because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very, I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. I was telling somebody you have instances like this, or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation, and I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear.
Yeah.
and because it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, "Bullets, bullets!" Get down, because I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly, and we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter, and so it hit me at an angle that was far less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was
Yeah.
for those
Split
people that
second.
don't believe in God. I think we got to all start thinking about that. You have to. I'm a believer now. I'm more of a believer, I think, and a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have said that to me, actually.
How could you
But
not
it
be
was
after
uh,
that,
it was
Donald?
amazing
Damn.
that I happened to be turned just at that perfect
Yeah.
angle, and all because I put down a chart on immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart
I
even
mean,
more
maybe it's
now
a
than I
sign.
ever.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's a sign, you know.
it's an immigration sign.
You highlighted a serious issue, and
Yeah,
at that moment,
that's right.
the bullet missed your, hit your ear, but missed your head. I mean,
Well, the amazing thing is that the sign, I said, bring down that sign on immigration. And it was literally about an eighth of a second where it would be good. And after that, it was going to
yeah,
be a disaster, no matter which way you were facing. But it just had that perfect angle, which was
yeah,
exactly at this shooter. Very sad situation. Such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey,
yeah,
who, a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man. And a friend of mine came up, Elon, and said, "I'd like to give the family some kind of help." And I said, "That's great." He said, "Do you mind?" I said, "I don't mind at all." And he wrote out a check for $1 million, gave it to the wife, and you know, uh,
Wow.
she said, "This is really nice, but I'd rather have my husband back," which is
Yeah.
a nice thing for
sure,
somebody to say. To
Absolutely.
be honest, she's great. The family is great, and we raised a lot of
yeah,
money for them and for. Two other gentlemen are unbelievable people. Also, they were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the two, and they were really hit tough, both of them
yeah,
equally. And we thought
yeah,
my first question was because I heard bullets flying over me, and I said, "How many people were killed?" Because we had a massive crowd there, a tremendous
yeah,
thousands and thousands of people, and there was no land. I mean, it was all people. So I said, "How many people have been killed?" Because I knew there were other shots being fired,
sure,
and they said, "We don't know yet, but some people have been badly hurt." And I have to give the Secret Service sniper, they call him, or sharpshooter, but sniper,
yeah,
because he didn't know there was a problem. He's an extraordinary shot, obviously, and he didn't know there was a problem. And he was
yeah,
able to pick it all out within 5 seconds. And he used one bullet from very far away, I guess probably about 400 yards. The shooter was 130, but he was on
yeah,
the opposite side of the field and the podium, and he saw the smoke and the flame from the gun, immediately recognized it, and immediately took a shot. And it was one perfect shot from very far away. And if he didn't do
yeah,
that, Elon, he would have. I mean, if he would have, a lot more people could have been
sure,
badly hurt and killed. So
yeah,
I have to
absolutely,
take my hat off to him, because that's also a surreal. He's been with them for 23 years, and
yeah,
he's never had anything like this. And all of a sudden, he has to act, and it's a very tough thing to
sure,
act and to be shooting somebody. But he saw the gun, saw the smoke, saw the flame from the gun, very far away. I obviously has very good eyes. He's got very good vision, which assume you have
yeah,
to have in that particular work. But he took
absolutely,
aim very quickly, and
Thank you, Autumn.
they say it was approximately 5 seconds from long range,
yeah,
one bullet. If that didn't happen,
yeah,
because the shooter had a lot of bullets, he had a lot of cartridges up
sure.
there with him, so could have
Well,
been very.
I mean that's clearly he was very competent in taking that shot to stop the attempted assassination. But I mean there does seem to be I mean some pretty significant failings elsewhere in the system. Like there's just no way that like how on earth does a shooter get on a roof 130 yards away. That seems crazy. I think most people people are wondering how on earth could such a thing happen.
Well, I view it as two ways. There should have been nobody on the roof. There were people,
Yeah.
because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. There were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt and
Right.
Trump all over
I
it,
saw
and
the video.
she's screaming, "That guy's got a gun!" You saw it probably. There's a
No, I
guy
saw
up
the
there
videos.
with a
I
gun.
mean, it's like I guess, I mean, for my part, and I think probably many members of the public are wondering how the heck are, basically people wondering by it, pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun.
Yeah.
And they're seeing it, but somehow it's not being addressed. That does seem
Yeah,
crazy.
well, they're going to learn from this. The communication between the local police, who sort of had an idea, and then ultimately a man lifted himself up to the roof, could barely do it because he was pulling himself up, and
Yeah.
he saw the man with the gun. The man with the gun pointed the gun at him. He thought he was probably going to get shot, but he was like pulling himself up, and because of that, he couldn't get to his
Thank you,
gun.
Lily B.
And he
Got him.
fell
Thank
down,
you.
actually very badly, hurt his leg, his ankle. I hear very badly,
Okay.
but he fell down. And he did, from what I understand, he did say there's a guy up there with a gun. And the shooting started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. He was supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah.
My sons, Don and Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time.
It's
They
true.
said it's like in golf,
Yeah.
sinking a 2-foot putt.
Yeah. It's not a tough
No,
shot.
it's not a long shot. The Secret Service person had the long shot. He had triple the
Yeah.
distance actually. So it was a terrible thing. Look, it's hard. I have to say this about the Secret Service. When I went down, and I went down based on, I think they're screaming, but other people also, because people saw this happen. You had so many people. One of the miracles was that nobody ran. I mean, if a gun goes off, the crowd
Yeah.
control people showed us this. When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of
Yeah.
people get killed with those stampedes. We had
Sure.
more people than you'd have at, some of these matches or these games, and nobody left. You had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full. And you look at it as it was taking place, and normally they'd be running. They didn't leave. They saw that I was hurt. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down. And it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see, and
Yeah.
and a lot of press too. There was many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different, because normally things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras shooting it, so sort of amazing. But one of the interesting things was that you didn't have anybody flee. You didn't have anybody stampede.
Sure.
Nobody. And there were some people behind me. They stood up and they're looking like, I mean, I'll tell you, you want to have them in a foxhole with you. I want to meet some of those people,
Sure.
because
Sure.
it's so different from what you heard. But so I was down. But the Secret Service
Yeah.
guys, there were bullets flying right over my head. You could hear them go whizzing, and
Yeah.
these guys came jumping on top of me, and a young lady, Kate, would jump. They moved so fast, and let me tell you, that took tremendous courage. Now there was a lack of coordination. There was, obviously everybody understands that somebody that building should have been covered, and
Yeah. I mean,
that was
I
the
think
big
that
thing.
I mean, looking at the aerial views, that building would be like the number one spot for a sniper. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like if you were to pick like what is the favorite place, what if you so
Exactly.
if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building, the
You're
roof of
right.
that building would be number one.
That would have been the spot.
It's like you can ask for a better location. It's like number
No, that
one.
would have been the
Right?
spot. You know what people think
Yeah.
is when the local policeman, who, by the way, he really he did what he was supposed to do. He couldn't hold on any longer. And then when he got his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with a gun at his head. And when he fell down, again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they think is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. He ran to the site and he started shooting fast. And maybe that's why he sort of missed. I mean, he
But
he
as you
got
say,
me,
he
but it
would have
could have
hit.
been a much
Yeah.
bigger problem.
But he totally would have hit if you hadn't turned your head. So, like, there was it was a very near thing.
It was a
So,
miracle. If I hadn't turned my head,
yeah,
I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly.
I would not.
Yeah,
I would
well,
not be talking to you.
maybe talking to me from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right. We'd be talking from a
so,
different place. But it was
Crazy.
it was a very terrible experience. The Butler Hospital, they did such a great job. The doctors were so good. Everybody was so good. There was a mistake. If somebody knew, because people were hearing that, there was just a bad feeling that there was somebody was around. You know that story now. It's been pretty
yeah,
well.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if somebody could have said, because they've oftentimes said, like there'd be a lightning storm or something. Because I've done, I think over 300. I think I did a lot more than that, but we did a lot. And oftentimes they'll say, "Sir, could you wait 10 minutes, please? Sir, could you wait 20 minutes? There's a storm overhead or lightning or something," right? And
yeah,
that happens
yeah,
often. And this would have been a perfect time for that to have happened, but it
yeah.
didn't get coordinated. That was the problem.
Well, it was your. I think your actions in the heat of fire, and like what I found admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual, or it is not. It's not a rehearsed action. And so I just want to say that I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there. And
Well,
yeah, so
thank you very
yeah,
much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up and I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know, I felt I was good when they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up. And they wanted, they have everything there. They have,
There's over a
they
million
wanted
people
stretcher. I didn't
listening to
like
this
the
right now, you
stretcher. And
guys.
I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else
yeah,
because it was such a lot of blood. And they were sure that I was hit someplace else. And they were saying, "Sir, you were hit in more than the ear." I said, "Nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get up." And so I got up, and the crowd didn't know what to think. I mean, this was so many people, and you could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think. And I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them
yeah,
know that. And they went wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when I
yeah.
got up because they didn't know, was I alive. You really couldn't tell when I stood up before the
I thought he
hand,
was
before
dead
the
for a second.
the fist in the air. They didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did. And when I put the fist up, they were just relieved and happy and thrilled, and the place went crazy. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It was a
Well,
terrible thing, but it
it was
was pretty amazing.
incredibly moving. Yeah. Um, well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn that saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration
Right,
slide. Maybe this,
that's right.
maybe this is worth talking about that,
It
since
was. It was.
that slide
You're
saved your
right.
life,
No,
basically.
the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but and I
I
had to
know
be at
that's
that exact angle.
I mean, that's a great one. Saved by illegal
You know,
immigration.
the incredible
100%.
thing though, when you talk about the odds, you had to be exactly at that angle. But the
Yeah,
incredible thing is that the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. It was just a moment.
yeah,
It's always on my left, never my right, and it's always at the end of the speech. So here
yeah,
we have it. It's on the right, not the left. It's at the beginning, not the end. And even the people that put it up, they were unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately, fortunately. But I looked to the right, and the bullet came whizzing by, hitting my ear. So it was amazing. But when you think of the odds of that, and
Yeah, yeah,
you know that normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it would
yeah.
have been a very different story. It's very much I I say an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and I'm
Sure.
honored by it. I'm honored by it.
Well, what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted with a
Well, I was
bullet?
going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're going to go
Great.
back in October. We're all set up, and the people are fantastic in Butler. It's a great area. Great, these are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey killed, and the other two, the families are. I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler, and I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying,
As you were
prior to
saying,
being so
exactly. So,
horribly interrupted.
yeah,
But
yeah. So rudely interrupted by an
yeah,
assassination
so it was.
attempt.
But no, but the chart,
Some people have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that in my last week we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping. It was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous
Yeah,
chart,
yeah,
but that was the lowest
yeah.
point ever recorded. It was a really, I mean, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala and Joe. You see what happened. They just let it go. I had remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that was so good. Uh, Guys like Tom Holman and Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. All these are all people that they've been on television. They says the best numbers we've ever had. We had so many different checks, catch and release in Mexico, not the United. We had catch and release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so many things. We had things where if people, many people come in there, they have contagious diseases. We had everything passed. If you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country.
Thank you,
So
Ifo,
we
for
were
the
setting
9.99, man.
literally
Thank you so much.
records,
That's really kind
and
of you. Keeping the lights on, baby.
all I was doing is showing that, and I use it sometimes,
Sure.
and in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that, but they were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart was
I'll be
very important,
sleeping with that
very
chart.
important for a lot of reasons.
Well, I mean, would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but but we also need to shut down illegal immigration, and especially unvetted illegal
Yes,
immigration, because and that's not the same as saying that everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell the difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that accurately
100%.
represent your position?
I say it
Okay.
very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked.
Yeah.
Because look, Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's
Yeah.
saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't
Yeah,
have to say it. She
that's what
could
I was
close it
thinking,
up
Lily
right
B.
now. They
It
could
is
do things
compression.
right now. It's horrible. No tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. They had not only tax on tips, but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you, and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible, and I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job on the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had, I believe, and I think you believe this too, you hear 12
Yeah.
million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country,
Yeah.
many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is
Yeah.
insane asylums,
Holy
and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're
Yeah.
coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries that are uh, stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you look at It's so sad, October 7th, because it should have never happened.
Yeah.
It's so sad
Sure.
when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective
Yeah.
government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they
Yeah.
won't do anything. It's all talk. She's
No.
incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something because he's not too good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a
Correct.
secure border. And
secure elections,
you
too.
know, absolutely secure elections. And so it's just essential to have a real border, or we can't function as a country, and our service, our essential services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities. As we were talking about earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that is smooth and efficient and done well, and speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant, and I think
Thank you,
that
Q.
I mean, like one way to think of it
1969.
is, who do you want on your
You
team?
rock, man. Thank you so much.
Who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to
Keep
let in
lights on.
people who
Jason,
are
thank you for
gonna,
the 199, man. You
be
guys are killing it right
great
now. What's going
contributors
on?
to our society and to our economy,
Right.
and and who do you want on the team? And
Thank you guys
it's
for your donations.
and
That's
and it's
kind
not
of
to
all of
say
you. Thank you.
that, like in my opinion, actually, I'd say like probably most of the illegal immigrants actually are actually good, hardworking people. That's my opinion. But some are not, and you just have this sort of adverse selection process where, if somebody's, if somebody's like you know, um, uh, has a career in theft or robbery, I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here, because we are in such a target-rich environment. Um, I mean, why aren't more people who have a career in, bad things coming here sooner? Because I mean, it's a piece of cake to go rob, houses in LA or New York, compared to other parts of the world. And in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, you'll be
Jason
arrested.
again. Thank you,
Yeah.
man.
It's
That's right.
insane.
That's right.
Spamming
I
that. I
mean,
love that. Thank
what's
you, brother.
happening with crime, and our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I
They're
hate
not.
to say it because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're
I
allowing,
think you're
again,
right.
they're
Yeah.
allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them. As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and they're
Yeah.
delivering them into
But
the.
that's what Castro did
Yeah,
that.
well, he did
He,
on a
he
much smaller scale.
yeah.
It was a much smaller
Yeah.
scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. This is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be.
Yeah.
And I saw it today in New York where somebody was knifed with raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters and started
Sure.
pulling out the
Wow.
knives, and bad things happen today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for
Yeah.
murder and all sorts of things, and they're releasing them into our country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people, and it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it because now she's trying to say she
Sure.
had nothing to do with it, and she's such a liar because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went there. She went to one location which had nothing to do with where the problem is. She went in and out, I
Right.
guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
had nothing to do where the problem
Yeah.
is. But she was
Well,
the
well,
border czar, And people
Yeah, yeah,
can't allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known
yeah,
what happened. You could shut the border down; he
yeah,
wouldn't even know the difference. But uh, the fact is that she was border czar. But if you don't have to call her
yes,
that, the fact is, you could just call her. She was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst
right.
ever.
It's simply not working.
No,
It's
it's
I mean
horrible.
whether it's a question of intention or competence.
He wouldn't
Either
even know the
way,
difference.
we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie apocalypse at times. And sometimes you got to sort of wonder, like, is it real or not? So because you see things, you're like, is it real? I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like seeing this in real time. I
Oh
actually
my god,
posted the
it's so
video like just
good.
live. I just flew there
Oh,
one day and just to see,
crying.
hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, and I have to say, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly. So
These are people.
people can look at my video and say, hey,
Yeah.
does these people look friendly? I don't look super friendly. So,
These are people that
um,
Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And the caravans are coming in and they're putting and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing
yeah,
it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them, but these are people that are non-productive. They are just not productive. I mean, for whatever reason, they're not
yeah, yeah,
workers or they don't want to work or whatever. And these countries are getting rid of non-productive people in the caravans in many cases, and they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are
yeah,
really brutal people. And they're coming into our country
yeah,
at levels that have never been seen before. And I saw an ad just before I got on the air. I'm walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala saying how she is going to provide border security. Where has she been for 3.5 years? For 3.5 years,
yeah. No, no. This
we
this
have 20
this
million
this
people
this I
poured
think is
in. It's a terrible
Yeah, I
thing.
think this, frankly, I think this is a fundamental existential issue for the United States. And if we have another 4 more years of open borders, and it's going to be even worse with another 4 more years, it's going to be even worse than it's been for the past, 3.5 years.
Correct.
I'm not sure we've got a country
You don't have
left
a country
at that
left.
point.
Elon, if they get in, you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. We think of South America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, the four. But it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from
Yeah,
everywhere. And I had to stay in
yeah, I think
Mexico.
this is a super important
Yeah.
point. Like people, it's like basically when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like almost no one was from Mexico. To be
No,
clear,
Mexico
it's it's
less,
just it's just
less
it's
than
just the
the others.
border. It's just the border with Mexico. But the people coming in, it's Earth, the rest of Earth, and America
He
is
just
only
laughs.
about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything in the
We're
U.S.
already
So.
overwhelmed,
Correct.
Elon. We're overwhelmed. You had to see the news tonight about New York. New York, and I love that place, and what they're doing to it is horrible, what they're doing to it. And all the courts do is they
Yeah.
try and focus on Trump. Okay, let's focus on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election. Elon, what's happened is unbelievable. You have from Africa, from the Congo, they're coming from the Congo, and 22 people came in from the Congo recently, and they're murderers, and they're dropped. They drop them. They take them out of jails, which is very expensive, to maintain the jails. Although they don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. But they take them out of jails, prisons. They take them out, and they bring them to the United States. They deposit them in the United States and say, "Don't ever come back, or you're going to be executed." And they don't want to come back. but they won't come back.
Sure.
But they're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from South
Well,
America.
just
They're
Earth,
coming from
rest of Earth,
everywhere.
basically.
And there are a lot of
Yeah,
really
everywhere on
bad
Earth.
ones.
It's just a it's just an everywhere on Earth thing, and it's just not possible for the United States to absorb everyone from Earth, or
I think it's the
even
mic,
a few
Devil.
percent of the rest of Earth. It's just not possible.
Well,
So
Elon, we're going to have
that's
just to
yeah,
finish this up. We're going to have the largest deportation in history of this country, and we have no choice. Otherwise, we're going to have a country. What they've done to our country. Think of it with in Venezuela and in some of these other countries, crime is down 50, 60, 70, 80%. And you would be the same. You would have.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
tell you what, Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50% put into the United States. Same with other countries. Some
sure,
are 30%, some are at 50%. They're all different. But the bottom line is they're all going to be at 100%. Why wouldn't you put 100% of?
yeah.
And they're doing it right now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat Biden. He failed in the debate miserably. And, some people said, oh, gee, it's too bad. It's too bad he did so badly, or I did well in the debate. The first night they said, wow. One of the people at CNN said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever witnessed. And then 2 days later, they didn't talk about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated. And I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a
It's
different. Look,
yeah.
she hasn't done an
I mean,
interview since this
yeah,
whole scam started. And say what you want. This
yeah.
was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can do it the nice
Yeah.
way or we can do it the
No.
hard way.
Yeah. No, I mean, they just took him out back behind the shed and basically shot him.
What they did
Biden.
with this guy,
So
and I'm no
yeah.
fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, and we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it.
Well,
And we wouldn't have had
yeah.
Afghanistan. But we think of it,
Well, yeah.
you take a few of those events away, and we have a different world. We would also have
No, no, you're. Yeah.
inflation was caused by oil.
Yeah, no, no. I think you're making an excellent point here, which is that when other countries can, that are, are thinking about invading or doing bad things, when they're thinking about that, they're thinking about, okay, what's the American president going to do, and do they fear the American president, or is it someone they do not respect and do not fear? And I think they would. They rightfully be. I mean, look at the footage of the assassination. They're like, okay, uh, President Trump is like, don't mess with me. I mean, that's like, whereas I think people are not going to be, and they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden, and they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think of that in the context of global security. That if the American president is someone that, like, evil dictators are scared of, that makes a huge difference to the security of the world.
So I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years. Just a hoax created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Shifty Schiff, some just bad people, just sick people, frankly. I mean, Schiff is a sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But, they put our country in danger with that stuff, too. They actually, when they make up stories, and you have to fight your way out of it for a long time. But I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest pipeline in the world going all over Europe. I shut it down. Biden came, and then they say,
Yeah.
I loved Russia. I was a friend of Putin, and I loved Russia. No, he actually said to me one time, he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his pipeline, the biggest pipeline. They were looking at that to
Yeah.
fund, and this pathetic president gets in there, and the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline, that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers, shuts it down. That was, a massive job that Obama refused to allow.
Yeah.
I allowed it in my first week because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by the way, in a much more environmentally friendly way. It's underground. It's not a truck that catches on fire or a train that catches on fire. But think of it. He shut down the XL pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline.
Yeah.
He shuts that down and he approves the Russian pipeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
Right?
sense. It's inconsistent. Certainly but I mean, I think it's just worth emphasizing, to listeners the immense importance of whether the United States president is intimidating or not intimidating, and how much that matters to global security, because there's
It's
some
true.
real tough characters out there, and if they don't think the American president is tough, they will do what they want to do.
I know every one of
And
them.
that puts it puts the whole
Yeah.
world in danger.
Elon, I know every one
It's
of
a
them,
big
and I
deal.
know them well. I know
Yeah.
Putin. I know President Xi. I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I know every one of them.
I don't think they're in the
And let
same
me tell
room.
you, people say, oh, this is terrible. He said, I'm not saying anything good or bad. They're at the top of their game. They're tough. They're smart. They're vicious. And they're going to protect their country, whether they love their country. They probably do. It's just a different form of love, but they're going to protect their country. But these
Yeah.
are tough people at the top of their game. And when they see a Kamala or when they see Biden, Sleepy Joe, they can't even
Yeah.
believe it. They can't believe this happened. All the stuff that you're seeing now, all the horror that you look at Israel, they're all waiting for an attack from Iran. Iran would not be attacking, believe me. When I was there, and I say it with respect because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran, but they knew not to mess around. Iran was broke because I told China, if you buy from Iran oil, it's all about the oil. That's where the money is. But if you buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business with the United States. And I meant it. And they said, we'll
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
They didn't buy oil. Other countries, likewise.
Sure.
You want to buy, you're not doing business with the United States. And they were at a point where they had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for any of these instruments of terror. And it was amazing. In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to believe, actually, especially when you look at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different place. We were respected. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were so respected to a point where when I said don't buy oil, they didn't buy oil, but they had no money,
Yeah.
and Israel would have never been attacked. Zero chance. And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way. And it's the last time we ever had the conversation. He would never have done. I got along well with him. I hope to get along well with him again. Getting along well with them is a good thing, not a bad thing. I got along well with
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un. When I met with President Obama just before entering, it's a sort of a ritual. And I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very short period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, what's the biggest problem? He said, North Korea. I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning with Rocket Man and, all the different things.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden I got a call.
Those were some epic tweets, by the way.
Yeah, they
Those
were,
like
they were
absolutely...
epic everything. He said that he has a red button on his desk. I said, I have a red button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger and my red button works. And then I called him Little Rocket Man of Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden I got a call from him. And they said they want to meet. They want to meet me. And we met, as you remember, we met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam. And I got along with them great. We were in no danger. But President Obama thought we were going to end up in a war, a nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's got a lot of nuclear stuff, too.
Exactly.
He's got plenty of nuclear. He can do plenty of damage.
Yes, I mean, it's because, people like Kim Jong-un, they respond to strength, not weakness.
Well,
And
he and I had a good relationship. Remember I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't say. Let's bring up Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked onto his land, and it was an amazing period. But we were not in danger with him because of me. You know, I always say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government and people that are
True.
controlling of the people. I mean, I'd mention names, but I really don't want to give them the credit. But we have some really bad, and I say they're more dangerous than Russia and China. If you have a smart president, a president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. I mean, we forced Obama, if you think about it, Obama and Biden and Bush to a certain extent, in all fairness, forced Russia and China together. And if you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got, if you take a look, Iran, and they have North Korea. That's, you know, they call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat. You know, the biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise one eighth of an inch over the next 400 years. And you'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries now that have significant nuclear power, and we have to not allow anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. You know, Biden did something with Russia. There was no chance of him ever going in. And when I left, and then after I left, they started forming big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things that were so stupid that war would have been, that war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything the opposite. Everything the opposite. And it's so sad because many more people have been killed in Ukraine than you read about. You don't read about how bloody it is and how disastrous. Hey, look, just in the 2 armies, you lost 500,000 people. And you know, Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine,
I'll
I
be
don't know
right
if you
back, you
saw
guys. I
the
need to use the
article
bathroom.
recently, and it's true. You don't hear the true story. But if you think about it, Russia's gone, you know, Russia defeated Germany with us, and they defeated Napoleon. You know, they've been around a long time. They're a big fighting force, and it's very unfair. And Ukraine now doesn't have enough men. They're now using young men and very old men to fight. And we're in a very bad position. And I'm not going to blame exclusively, but I can tell you I could have stopped that, and a smart president could have stopped that. It wouldn't have happened. But we had a man that actually made it. It made it more prevalent. It was so bad. The words that he was using, the stupid threats coming from a stupid face that he was using. I said, this guy's going to cause us a war. He's going to cause us. And let me tell you, it can lead to World War III. That can lead to World War III. The Middle East can lead to. We have numerous places that could end up in a World War III right now for no reason whatsoever.
I think you're right. I think people underrate the risk of World War III, and it's just you know, when you're looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare, it's game over for humanity, and you know it's something that people have, I think, after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are currently a lot of nuclear missiles that have targeting parameters for the United States from other
100%.
countries.
And one of the things
And
we're going to do is
it's
we're going to build an Iron Dome over us. You know, Israel has it. We're going to have the best Iron Dome in the world. We need it, and we're going to make it all in the United States. But we're going to have protection, because it just takes one maniac to, you know, start something. We're going to have protection, and we're going to have. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? Israel has one. Some other places have one that nobody even knows about, frankly. But Israel has it. We're going to have an Iron Dome. But, you know, with all of that being said, to me, that's so important, the most important. But with all of that being said, the election's coming up, and the people want to hear about the economy and the fact that they
Absolutely, sure.
can't buy groceries because they don't have enough money to buy groceries. The inflation has killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases. And this stupid administration allowed this to happen. And it's a shame. And that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discussed the border at great length. It's nice to have a
Yeah, yeah.
forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, you think Biden could do this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on
No, they
you.
could not.
So they don't need Elon. They don't need Elon screaming out questions. It's pretty sad when you think that somebody that does this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty sad.
Yes,
But the
absolutely.
big thing now is the
Well,
economy, Elon.
yeah,
And as much as
yeah.
I mean, I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't understand that. But it doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need. Because if I was president, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. But the thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you make. The inflation is eating you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle income person, you can't afford. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using
Yeah.
all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing
Right.
that's happening, and we'll end that
Well, I think
quickly.
a lot of yeah, a lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government spends far more than it brings in, that increases the money supply, and if the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services,
That's right.
that's inflation. Um, so really, we need to have we need to reduce our government spending, and we need to re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not
Right.
sensible? And we need to live within our means. We're currently adding, I think, $1 trillion to the deficit every roughly
Right.
every 100 days.
That's right.
And the interest payments on the national debt have now exceed the defense budget. It's on the order of $1 trillion,
It's interest.
and it keeps
Yeah, I
growing.
rebuilt our military, largely rebuilt our military, did a great job on it, which was so important. We had jets, we had fighters that were, and bombers that were 70 years old. And we did a great job in that. Then by the way, then we gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. They're one of the largest sellers
Yeah,
of military equipment in the world. They're selling what we gave them. That was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our country. But if you think about, let's go back to the economy. We have to bring energy
yeah.
prices down. Energy started at the price of gasoline. Now your cars don't require too much gasoline, so you have a good, and you do make a great product. I have to say, I have to be honest with you.
Thank
That
you.
doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car, but these are minor details. But your product is incredible. But the
Thank you.
gasoline, Elon, is the cost of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That has
Sure.
to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%, and that has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to
Yeah.
drill, baby, drill. They stopped drilling, and then they went back to drilling because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won the day after they get into office, this country will go out of business because they're going to go to an energy policy that's not sustainable. Wind and different things. You're not going to have anything.
Yeah.
And I know you're a big fan of the AI, and I have to say
Yeah.
that AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. So you're going to have to build. We're going to have to build a lot of energy if our country will be competitive with China, because that's our primary competitor for this on the AI. You're going to
Sure.
need a lot of
Well, I mean,
electricity. You're going to need tremendous
yeah.
electricity, like almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
Sure. Well, just going, back to this, like the basic thing, which that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government
Right.
overspending. Would you agree that we need to take a look at government spending
Yes.
and have perhaps a government efficiency commission that just tries to make
I
the
hope Trump
spending
gives a clear
sensible and
answer
so
here.
that the
This is
country
my
lives
number
within
one
its
issue.
means, just like a
The
person does?
waste is incredible, and nobody
It
negotiates
is.
prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some point. I mean, I went through it like Air Force, just a thing like Air Force One. One of the first documents they asked me to sign, a general walks in, "Sir, would you please sign this document?" And what is it? Air Force One. That's with Boeing, which is basically two planes, two 747s. And the price was
Yeah.
$5.7 billion for two planes. Now they're
Wow.
highly sophisticated.
That's
They're
insane.
even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're very, I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's
Sure.
5.7. I
That's a crazy
It's a
number.
crazy number, but I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going to do it. I said, who made the deal? Obama and his people. I said, well, then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to do it, I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the truth. But for the exact same plane, I saved one. And I said to Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration and wanting big cost overruns, because they see these dopey suckers in there, and they'll end up getting some of the money back. But I shaved it by $1.6 billion
Oh,
for the
thanks,
exact
Kathleen.
same plane. And you can now take that and multiply that out
Shout out to
times
everyone at the
thousands of
bar in
other items.
Massachusetts.
And
Multiply it by
yeah,
a
the
zillion,
numbers are
and yeah.
astronomical. I agree with you.
Well, I mean, if so, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. I'd be happy to help out on such a commission
I'd love
if
it.
it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, "You want to quit?" They go on strike.
Yeah.
I won't mention the name of the company, but they
Elon
go on
working with
strike,
Trump?
and you say, "That's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone." So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But if you look at Argentina.
Well, I'd be happy to
Yeah, by
help
the way,
out.
congratulations. I
Yeah.
just looked at the number of people that are listening to you and I chat. We'll call it a chat. But
Yeah.
congratulations. This is very good. I mean, it's great. And you're an interesting character. The new head of a place called Argentina, and he's a big,
Malay's
he's
awesome.
he's great. And
Yeah.
he's a big MAGA fan, that he ran on MAGA. And he took it to an extreme too. He ran on MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job. It's called Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of hats, he brought everything, but he's doing a big job. He really cut. And I'm hearing
Yeah.
they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. They had like
Yes, exactly.
2,000%. And they had inflation like not normal inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to
Yeah.
have that pretty soon. We have, I think we
Yeah.
have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They say it's 48 years. I don't believe it. I think we have the worst. They
Yeah.
don't include a lot of the items that should be included.
Kathleen, tell
Yeah.
them have a
Well,
have a beer for
it's
me.
just
I'm drinking
from
coffee.
government
I want
overspending
a nice
and not just
IPA.
not spending taxpayer money
Yeah.
effectively, and having just like so many departments you can't even name them all. And what Malay is doing is he's cutting government spending. He's simplifying things. He's having putting in regulations that make sense, and we're Argentina overnight is experiencing a giant improvement
That's
in
right.
prosperity.
There
But
you
it's
go.
also a lesson for the United States, which is that um, Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. Um,
Right.
in the like in the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country.
Exactly.
And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous.
Yeah.
They have phenomenal reserves of everything, oil, everything, and it should be prosperous. But if the government's wrong, it impoverishes the people. And so I think we should not be complacent in the United States and thinking that and taking our prosperity for granted.
There you go.
Because if with
Exactly.
bad government policy, we can run the country into the ground, and that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every list of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Uh, Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually, China's pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7. But we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So we spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where
Yeah.
where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the
Yeah.
50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15
Yeah.
of them, or 20 of them will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of
Yeah.
these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well-run.
Sure.
And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of, the land or the sun and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you moved education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation.
Yeah.
But if you think
Well,
about it,
yeah.
you'll have some
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than
Yeah.
half what it is in Washington. And
Yeah.
these people don't care
Well,
about the
yeah.
students in these, faraway states. And it'd
Well,
be unbelievable.
yeah. I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states, then people will
That's
naturally
right.
move to states where it's better.
Well, like California, as we said, it's a badly run state. I could go through. I got so many friends that are in those states, even if they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But
Yeah.
some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do it good initially. But you're not going to do worse than you're doing right now. And I would say that
Yeah.
the cost, you would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you'd have a little
Yeah. Yeah.
monitor. You want to make sure they're teaching English as an example. Give us a
Yeah.
little English, right?
Sure, yeah.
Right?
No, but I mean, to what? Some of these governors are doing so badly. I mean, they got so many people moving out of their state. They should get U-Haul Salesman of the Year award because they're driving so much U-Haul
It's
sales.
actually
It's just
amazing.
people moving out.
Isn't it amazing to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois, so many people are leaving, and you wonder, how do they survive? I mean, how do they survive? I saw where you left California and you moved to Texas. Texas does a great job. But, I
Yeah.
mean, I just wonder, how do these states survive when big businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses and their taxes are already really high? The taxes are among the highest
Yeah.
taxes. You almost wonder, how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job in their crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not
Well,
a good
I think there's.
situation.
I think the only thing that's going to force some of these states to change is if they risk bankruptcy and they're not getting bailed out by the federal
Right.
government.
There you
Right.
go.
Well,
Correct.
That's
you're
the
going to
only thing
have
that's going to
that.
get them to change.
You remember the
Yeah.
area in California where they had that, where I
think
guess
that was Bell.
somebody had sticky fingers and they stole
I think
a
that
lot
was
of money.
Bell, Bell.
And
I remember that.
they
I'm
went
surprised Trump
into
knows that.
a form of chapter, and it was very nasty
Yeah.
for a period of time. But now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So at some point, something like that may have to happen. But the problem is you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business. And then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So, you know, what is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And, you know, you have people, I could name every one of them. I got to know every one of
Yep.
these, and some are very good and some are just horrible.
I'm surprised Trump knows that
Well,
City
I
of
think
Bell
that, I mean,
case
the
from like
larger point here,
2011.
you know, as you're
Wow.
saying, like you know, a lot of people are concerned about the economy. A lot of people are concerned about inflation, and inflation is effectively a tax on people that save money,
Yeah.
and for people that are working day to day,
Correct.
it's just a form of taxation. And if we can
Why
solve the government
Democrats
spending
love it so
problem, we'll
much,
solve the
Elon.
inflation problem, which means people will have a better standard of living, and
Yeah.
that's a really big
Well, the
deal.
people that got hurt worst are the people that did it the way they were taught to do it all through, you know, their younger life and their young life and their whole life. The people that saved money and then they got no interest on their money and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated, and we're going to bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. You know, when I look at bacon costing 4 or 5 times more than it did a few years ago,
Sure.
when you look at some of the food products in grocery stores, people go, they can't believe it. They used to be able to buy a whole cart, and today, you know, a lot of people just don't have the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at
Yeah,
it's sticker
I
shock.
think
They
it.
call it
Yeah.
sticker shock, right?
I think it really just comes, like I said, I think it just comes down to really, I guess, two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which improves living
Right.
standards of the average person, and then if you deregulate, like have sensible regulations, so because a lot of the regulations are nonsensical and cause the cost to be extreme for no reason, but unless you've got effective deregulation. Like Reagan did a great job on deregulation in the 80s, but it's been 40 years since we had
That's right.
anyone really. I mean, during your administration, we made some progress, but I think there's an opportunity to make, I think, radical progress with sensible regulation.
Yeah.
And
Well,
if it was
Elon, we
those two things, yeah, those are the big
yeah,
deals.
we set a record. We did more deregulation and more restrictions on all of the different businesses than any other president. Remember, I had the rule for every one we put in, you have to get rid of 10 or 12. And we did
Yes.
radical cuts on all of that. And a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things that weren't necessary. But we were all set. You know, we had the best economy ever maybe in the world. And then what happened is COVID came in and we had to focus on that and nobody knew what it was. And I always say I got good marks on economy, good marks on military. We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, you know, I never got the credit that we really deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit. But if had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But
Yeah.
had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle income people, not only businesses. But we did it for businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really start reducing debt. And, you know, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. And we were going to drill and we were going to make so much money. We were going to supply Europe with oil. I had stopped the Russian pipeline and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were going to make a fortune. And then the COVID came in and we really had to divert. Then what happened is when they came in, you know, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a 1929 type depression. But the problem is when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. You know, we got over that bad period where everybody was dying and feeling, you know, it was just not a good period. Interestingly, you know, during his administration, many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it. But people don't realize more people died during his administration than ours. But it diverted us from doing what I wanted to do. But we had the greatest for, almost 3 years. We had the
Yeah.
great, and you know that probably better than anybody. So many of your friends said to me, the best years we've ever had in business were during the Trump years, and also said that African American, Hispanic American were so incredible. They were having the best. Asian American women, men, young people without a diploma, young people that graduated from the best colleges, from MIT, from the Wharton School, from all of the great colleges, Harvard. They were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better, and everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and
Sure.
the problem is they spent trillions and trillions of dollars. They wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't be having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, I should probably say something about, like, maybe my views on, climate change
Yeah.
and oil and gas, because I think I'm probably different from what most people would assume. Because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard, which is that I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy. And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving, and the economy would collapse.
Tell
So
AOC
it's,
that and
I
Kamala
don't think it's right
Harris.
to sort of vilify the oil and gas industry. And I, the world has a certain demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than
There you
some other
go.
Sure.
countries.
Damn right.
And
Drill,
it
baby,
would
drill.
help with prosperity in the U.S. And at the same time, obviously, my view is like, we do over time want to move to a sustainable energy economy, because eventually you do run out of. I mean, you run out of oil and gas. It's not there for. It's not infinite. Um, and there is some risk. I think the risk is not as high as a lot of people say it is with respect to global warming. But I think if you just keep increasing the parts per million in the atmosphere long enough, eventually it actually simply gets uncomfortable to breathe. People don't realize this. If you go past 1,000 parts per million of CO2, you start getting headaches and nausea. And so we're now in the sort of 400 range. We're adding, I think, about roughly 2 parts per million per year. So I mean, it still gives us. So what it means is, like, we still have quite a bit of time, but so there's not, like, we don't need to rush, and we don't need to, like, stop farmers from farming, or you know uh, prevent people from having steaks, or
Right.
basic stuff like
Right.
that. Like, you can leave the farmers alone,
I agree.
in
How
my opinion.
crazy is that, where
I mean,
you have farmers that are not allowed to farm anymore and have to get rid of their cattle, and the whole world is
yeah,
a
that's
little
silly.
crazy, but it's largely taken its lead from us. I just say, though, I've heard, in terms of the fossil fuel, because even to create your electric car and create the electricity needed for the electric car, fossil fuel is what really creates that at the generating plants. And, so you sort of can't get away from it at this moment. I mean, someday you might be able to, but I do hear we have anywhere from 100 to 500 years left. Much of it hasn't even been found yet.
Yeah,
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got Anwar in Alaska approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. Everybody tried. Nobody could do it. I got it approved. The first thing that Biden did was unimprove to get rid of it. He ended
yeah,
it. His secretary went in and she ended it. And what a disgrace. That's Anwar. That's bigger, or they think it could be bigger than Saudi Arabia in Alaska. Could be bigger than Saudi Arabia. But they went in and they terminated it. And I'll get it going very quickly, because not only is it big for Alaska, I mean, you talk about economic development, that for the United States, I mean, that is, they say, bigger than Saudi Arabia or the same size, and pure,
yeah.
really good stuff. And, they end it. So I think we have, perhaps hundreds of years left. Nobody really knows. But during that
Yeah.
during that
I mean,
time,
my
something will
estimate.
come around that will be
Yeah,
very good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and my estimate would be, a little more aggressive than that, but it's not the sort of, like, we're all going to die in 5 years stuff. That's obviously BS. Um, But I mean, my view
Again,
is like if you
tell
just look at sort
AOC
of
that
parts per million
the
that
Democrats.
increments every year, you know, you get sort of 2 or 3 parts per million every year of CO2. Uh, I mean, I think some of that it's problematic if it accelerates, if you start going from 2 or
Right.
3 to say 5, and then there may be some situations where you get just a step change increase in the CO2.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm, because like that's actually makes it uncomfortable to breathe. Like just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like that's considered like an industrial hazard.
Right.
Just so it's, you know, that's actually, you start getting headaches and stuff. So it's even without global warming, it's not comfortable to live in. So you don't want to get too close to that. But I mean, I think we've got. I think we want to just move over, and like, and if I don't know, 50 to 100 years from now, we're I don't know, mostly sustainable. I think that'll probably be okay. Um, so it's not like the house is on fire immediately, but I think it is something we need to move towards. And on on balance, it's probably better to move there faster than slower. But like I said, without vilifying the oil and gas industry, and without causing hardship in the short term. I think this can be done without, but people can still have, a stake, and they can still drive gasoline
Sure.
cars, and it's okay. It's like, it's not. I don't think we should vilify people for it, but I think we should just generally lean in the direction of sustainability. And I actually think solar is going to be a majority of Earth's energy generation in the future, and it's certainly trending that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get the solar power, combine that with batteries, so because obviously the sun doesn't shine at night, and then you use that to charge the electric cars, and you have a long-term sustainable solution. And that's what Tesla's trying to move things towards, and I think we've made a lot of progress in that regard. But when you look at our cars, we don't believe that environmentalism, that caring about the environment should mean that you have to suffer. So we make sure that our cars are beautiful, that they drive well, that they're fast, they're sexy. I mean, they're cool. In fact, literally, I mean, this sexy joke, Model S, Model 3, Model X, and Y spells out sexy. It's probably the most expensive joke out there. But I don't know, I like cheesy humor, So, but I'm a big fan of, like, let's have an inspiring future, and
Yeah.
let's work towards a better future, and we can do so without demonizing
Right.
people.
I'm okay.
You know.
It's very interesting. You use the word global warming, and today they use the word climate change because you have some places that go up, and so they were getting themselves in a little trouble with the word global warming, because not every place is warming. Some places are going the opposite direction. But I'm sort of waiting for you to come up with solar panels on the roofs of your cars and on the trunks of the cars, and it just seems like something that at some point you will come up with. I'm sure you'll be the first, but it would seem that a solar panel on the roofs, on flat surfaces, on certain surfaces might be good,
Yeah.
at least in certain areas of the country where you have the world
Sure.
where you have the sun. But I would think, and I have no idea because that's not my world, but I would think that this would be something that would be interesting. But the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global warming or they talk about climate change, but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me,
Sure.
that's an immediate problem because you have, as I said, 5 countries where you have major nuclear, and probably some others are getting there, and that's very dangerous. That's where you need a strong American president, because you don't want to have this proliferation. But you have 5 countries and getting more. China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower. Russia and us are number one, and I mean, we're sort of tied. And China is far behind, but they're developing at a level that you're not surprised to hear very fast. They'll end up catching up, maybe even
Yeah.
surpassing. But to me, the biggest
Yeah.
problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's a problem, but it's degrees. To me, the big problem is the nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great, And when I talk
Yeah,
about
nuclear power is underrated. It's
I'll
awesome.
prevent World War
Yeah.
III, I will. But the truth
Okay.
is that you have to, because this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is
Yeah.
a level of destruction and power that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, and actually, there's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is
Absolutely. You're
underrated,
right.
and it's actually, people have this fear of nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. Um, and if you look at the injuries and deaths, caused by, say, I mean, I'm not going to try and pick on coal mining, but just any kind of mining
Right.
operation, and there's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done. So that
Maybe they'll have
sort
to
of
change the
have it,
name. The name is just, it's a rough name. There are some areas
yeah, it's a rough
like when
name.
you see what happened in,
Good bad
right,
branding. The
we'll have to
branding's rough.
rebrand it. We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after you or something. You know,
No,
no, it
I
has
think
hey, it has a branding problem. You know, when you see what happened
it does have a branding problem.
when you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they, there's a lot of bad things happened, and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad,
No, that's not true.
but you're
Well,
right
no,
about it. It's amazing.
it's actually not that bad. So like after Fukushima happened in Japan, like people were asking me in California, are we worried about like a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's actually it's not even dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. Um, and and I donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant, and
Yeah, but you haven't
because the
been
danger
feeling
is
so
just
well lately, and I'm worried about it.
no, but I mean
I'm
it's just
only kidding.
it's
I'm only
fine,
kidding.
it's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
Right.
it's
Well, that's
really
great.
not
That's great.
something that
That's
um,
great.
so it's not as scary as people think, basically. But
Yeah.
um, let's see. I mean, are there some other topics we should touch on? Like lawfare. I think
Well,
we need to be concerned about.
what they've done to this country.
Obviously,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we just won the big
I mean,
case in Florida. This was a Biden administration did something that's never been done in this country, and that's go after their political opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won, but they always pick a judge and a jury, and they use local DAs, they use the local attorney generals, like Fani, Fani, spelled
yeah,
Fani, Fani, and it's
yeah,
all a big hoax, and it's all run from there. Like in Manhattan, the one of the top people from the Justice Department went in, ran Manhattan, ran the state. The Letitia James deal was run by a person from the Department of Justice, Biden. They've never done this before,
sure,
and they set up a very bad precedent. It's called lawfare, warfare.
yeah,
It's a terrible thing, and never happened in our country. It does happen in banana republics and third world countries, but it's never
yeah,
happened. And the incredible thing is it actually drove my numbers up because people see, fortunately I have a platform like you, or, in all fairness, like a conversation like this, where I can talk about it and people understand. I mean, you fight for election integrity and you end up getting indicted because you're fighting for election integrity. And when the day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country anymore. So what
yeah,
happens is they went after their political opponent, me. Now Biden's, close to vegetable stage, in my opinion. Okay, I looked at him today on the beach, and I said, why would anybody allow him? The guy could barely walk. Why would anybody allow him? Does
yeah,
he have a political advisor that thinks this looks good? He thinks this looks good because it looks so bad, and it's ridiculous. I mean, and he's been doing
right,
that
right,
for a long time. He can't lift the chair. The chair weighs about 3 ounces. It's meant for children and old people to lift, and he can't
yeah,
lift it. The whole thing is
Well,
crazy.
he's clearly not, I mean, he's clearly like, we just don't have a president right
You
now.
don't
That's
have a
just obviously the
president, and she's
case.
going to be worse than him
Um,
because she is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San Francisco, and then as Attorney General, she destroyed California. You talk about location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. What she has done to California is, well, you know better than I do. You just left California for a lot of those reasons. And what she's done with crime, with cashless bail, where you kill somebody. I mean, we have states now you kill somebody and they let you out right away. I mean, you don't have to even put up, and then they never find the people unless they kill again, and then they let them out again. Our
yeah.
country is becoming a very dangerous place. And she is a radical left San Francisco liberal. And now she's trying to protect. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible, but she wants to be more Trump than
Well,
Trump.
yeah.
I want a wall. I
I
want,
think that's,
you know, she
yeah,
wants to release all the
yeah,
prisoners that are in detention, and some of these guys are really bad.
right.
That just came
Yeah, I
out
just saw
today.
that.
She
Yeah,
doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls and wheels. You know, in your business, everything you do is obsolete. Almost, well, not the tunnels, but everything is obsolete. Even your rocket ships, they're like a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And the wall, you know, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and that's why we had such good numbers. I was going to add
yeah,
200 miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks, and they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant, I said, wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders. She wants to have open borders, and now she's going like she's tough on the border. It's such a lie.
yeah. This is simply not true.
Yeah,
This is simply
no,
not
and
true.
everybody
Yeah,
knows
it's
it's
simply not
not true.
true.
It's a disgrace that she can
Yeah.
say it.
No, I mean, obviously, what's happening sort of overnight is they're rewriting history and making Kamala
Big
sound like a
time.
moderate when in fact she is far left, like far, far
Worse
left.
than Bernie
Um,
Sanders. She is considered more
yeah,
liberal by far than Bernie Sanders. She's a radical left lunatic. And if she's going to be our president, very quickly, you're not going to have a country anymore. And she'll go back to all of
yeah,
the things that she believes in. She believes in defunding the police. She believes in no fracking, zero. You don't. Now all of a
yeah,
sudden she's
yeah,
saying, no, I will. I really want to see fracking. If they got in, the day she got in, she'll end fracking. And by the way, if people didn't think that, the lunatics that really believe in that, they won't vote for her. You know, like like the
yeah,
Palestinians and Israel. She is so anti-Israel, and she's bad for both. Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him. You know, both sides. That was a hard
yeah.
thing to do. Unification.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, Netanyahu came to give a talk to a joint Senate and House sitting, and I was there, and Kamala stood him up. What does that say?
I think
Um,
it's highly
that's
disrespectful. And I say, if you're a Jewish person or if you believe in Israel, if you're a person that, you know, is a very pro-Israel, if you vote for her, it's worse than Biden. And Biden was bad. But if you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined. And you see tonight, I mean, as we're doing this, I'm seeing reports coming that they expect an attack tonight or tomorrow from hundreds and maybe thousands of rockets. You know, their Iron Dome, as they call it, as we all call it, but their shield that they build, that can be swamped. We'll use the term that's
yeah,
appropriate, swamped. But they
yeah.
swamp it by shooting enough missiles. You know this better than anybody. By shooting enough missiles,
So,
they can't defend themselves. You know, they just obliterate the whole
yeah,
place. And that's what some people think they're looking to do. And we have no leadership. There's no respect for the United States of America with these people. And I'm telling you,
yeah,
she'll be worse than him because she's a believer
yeah. No,
in
I
being
think you're right.
radical left, and he wasn't.
I think you're right. I mean, you really, it's important for the public that may be listening to this to look at Kamala's track record, before the last like month, and say, is that a track record you agree with? And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree with it. because it is her behavior has been far left, and we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history and make it sound like Kamala is moderate when she in fact is not moderate.
Well,
So I
her
think that
running mate approved, signed into legislation, tampons in boys' bathrooms. Okay, now
yeah,
that's
yeah,
all I
that's
have to
weird.
hear. Tampons in
That's
boys'
weird.
bathrooms, and that means she
Yeah,
believes in that too. I mean,
yeah, that's
she
not
picked
okay.
this guy because he was the closest to her. A lot of people thought she'd pick sort of the opposite, but she picked an anti-Israel radical left person. But she is far worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have her as a president, if we have a Democrat at this moment as a president, I don't think our country can survive.
I think it's a massive. I think we're in massive trouble, frankly, with the Kamala administration, and that's my honest opinion. And I think really it's essential that you win for the good of the country for this election. And I mean that's I'm just stating my opinion. Now you know you may have seen this, but I got a letter from the EU Commission, like saying, to not have disinformation on during this discussion that we're having, and there's a lot of attempts to do censorship and to force censorship even on Americans
It's
from other
happening to our
countries,
channel.
and what do you think about that?
Well, I know the European Union very well. They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know. We, through a different forum, NATO, we protect them. And yet, if you build a car in the United States, you can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible. The same thing with our farmers. Our farmers find it very difficult to do business. You know, we have a deficit with them of $250 billion, which people don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're not as tough as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. And that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them, you know, with Ukraine. So we're in for 250 billion, and they're in for about 71 billion, and they have the same size. It's if you add up the European nations that in terms of an economy, it's about the same size. When you say as us, and they're in,
Yeah,
and they're in much greater risk. They're right there. We have an ocean separating us from, in this case, the enemy would be Russia. It used to be for the
yeah,
Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough. And what happens is they're in for 70 something million. I think even less than that, billion, and we're in for about 250 billion, and it could be a lot higher than that. And I say, why aren't you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more, it's much more important for them because of the fact that, they're right near there. I mean, they're all sort of in that location. We're not. But
yeah,
they should, and I did it with NATO. There were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 28 at the time. And the United States
yeah,
was the United States was subsidizing NATO, tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I said, I went
yeah,
in and I said, you
yeah,
got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer. I took a lot of heat, but you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in, and
yeah. I think a lot of the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of the NATO expenses,
and then we get
even though
taken advantage of on trade. So think
yeah,
about it.
well, I mean, the point of NATO is defending Europe, and it's it's like then okay, well, why is the United States paying disproportionately more to defend Europe than Europe? That doesn't make sense. That's
Exactly.
unfair, and that is an appropriate thing to address.
Well,
Um,
when you talk about
so
cost cutting and savings and everything else, I mean, honestly, look, there's nobody that feels worse about the Ukraine situation than I do because I know it would have never happened. I know Zelensky. He was very honorable to me because when they went with the Russia hoax and they said I had a phone call with him, he said it was a perfect phone call. It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and, said, oh, he was very threatening. He said, no, it was a very nice phone call. I called him up to congratulate him on his win, and you end up getting impeached because these people are
yeah, yeah,
lunatics. I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. in many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country than the Russias and the Chinas. If you have a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
Yeah.
Now they've taken advantage
Yeah,
of us
absolutely.
incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech because during your first term as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly with with false attacks, and you didn't try to shut down the media, you didn't try to inhibit their freedom of speech, and I think that says a lot.
Well, the good thing is that you and I have, and some people, very few, we can get the word out. Although sometimes it's hard because they don't want to print it, like we're having a great conversation right now. Kamala wouldn't have this conversation. She can't because she's not
No.
smart. She's not a smart person, by the way. She can't have this conversation. And Biden, we don't even have to talk about it. I mean, he couldn't have this conversation. He would have given up on the first half of a question. He would have walked out. He would have said, "Where am I? Where am I going?" So anyway, but
Yeah,
no, he wouldn't have this.
that's true.
Not a lot of people would have this conversation, but we cover a lot of territory. But the beauty is that we can have a conversation, and
Yes, you
I'm
can actually
able
have a
to get it out
conversation.
without because I get treated unfairly
This
by
is
the
a really
press.
big point. You can actually have a conversation with you,
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
and you can't have a conversation with Biden or Kamala. It's like it's not possible.
That's true.
Um,
It's
so this is like talking to an NPC.
no.
So it's just
Well,
impossible.
but think of it. We need a man or person who's unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the nuclear danger and all the dangers that I'm talking about. And I got along with all these. I got along with Kim Jong Un. We had dinner, we had everything, and he really liked me, and I got along with him really well. By the way, he's the absolute boss over there. A lot of people said, "Oh, do you think he really?"
That's for
Let me
sure.
tell you, I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss. But we had a good relationship, and he doesn't like Biden. He considers him a stupid man. He said he's a stupid man. Well, at least he speaks his mind. But in this country, you're not sort of allowed to say it. But I guess you are. You should be allowed to say it if
Yeah.
it's true. But we need smart people, and we need people that have an ability to lead. And she doesn't have that ability. Can you imagine? Now
Yeah.
Chairman Xi very well. Can you imagine her and him negotiating, or
No, it's
even
silly. It would be
standing
silly.
together? It is, the whole concept
Yeah.
is ridiculous. She is terrible.
Even
She's terrible.
Elon's like,
But
yeah,
she's
it would
getting a
be
free ride. I saw a
rough.
picture of her
Yeah.
on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing, and actually,
Yeah.
she looked very much like our great First Lady, Melania. She looked, she looked,
Yeah.
didn't look,
Yeah.
she didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman, so we'll leave it at that, right?
Yeah, well, maybe like I think part of what people in America want to, people in America want to feel excited and inspired about the future. They want to feel like the
It's
future is
true.
going to be better than the past, and that America is going to do things that are greater than we've done in the past, reach
Right.
new heights that make you proud to be an American, and excited about the future. Um,
They want the
and I
American
think
dream
this,
back. They want the American dream back. More important than anything else. It's like you don't have that today because the people they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running our. You know, the Biden thing is very interesting. People just found him to be incompetent, and when I debated him, I was like, "Is this for real?" It was
Yeah, it was just absurd. But I think there are like some grand projects that we could do. I mean, I think like we could build a base on the moon. We could send American astronauts to Mars. We
right.
could build high speed
Yep.
connections that are more advanced than anything else in the world between our cities, so people have fast transport. Um, it's possible to solve traffic with tunnels.
That's right.
We already made great progress in Vegas doing that, and and just do things that are exciting and inspiring and make the future feel like it's better than the past.
Well, I saw
And
what you
Just
did in
water.
Vegas, and I'll tell you, it was amazing. I got to see. I took a big glimpse at it, and it's incredible. It's incredible, and you could do that all over. You could do that all over. It's deep.
yeah,
You
and
don't
that's
even need much structure. Assuming you're in the right areas.
no, it's straightforward.
It's amazing.
So I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high speed rail between its cities, but I think it's actually possible with tunnels if with deregulation with an ability to actually where it's like legal to actually do the tunnels. Then you could have high speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world for high speed transport between cities, and that would be something that Americans can say, "Wow, okay, we've got something that's cooler than anyone else in the
Yeah.
world." That's the kind of thing that makes you proud to be an
And
American.
much safer than surface trains where there is a danger there, with people, with crazy
Yeah,
people. It's much safer, much better. And, it's sad because I've seen some of the greatest trains. I find it fascinating. And I've seen the systems and how they work, and the bullet trains, they call them, I guess. And
yeah,
they go unbelievably fast, unbelievably comfortable with no problems. And we don't have anything like that in this country, not even close. And
yeah.
it doesn't make sense that we don't. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think also like there's I'm kind of hopping on the excess regulation, but I think something that um like I think people can generally understand is that what happens with laws and regulations is that there's more and more of them every year, and unless there's a process to clean them up, eventually everything becomes
You're right.
illegal, and that actually it slows down the development of new technologies. I mean, if you take the sort of like I think there's room for some reform at the FDA
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
improving the speed with which we approve drugs that could help save lives and improve people's
Yeah.
lives.
I worked very hard
And
on that. We
that,
got that down
yeah,
to the lowest number ever, and we got therapeutics approved in the FDA that people can't even believe the speed. But I took them on. I don't think they like me too much, but I got things approved and the FDA at numbers that they wouldn't believe. And it's a very bureaucratic group. Actually, it's a fine group of people in many cases. I got to know a lot of them, but I was pushing them really hard for Regeneron, for so many different things that were really pretty amazing. But the FDA takes too long. It's 12 years to get a product approved. I got it down to 4, and I
yeah.
got some things done very quickly. But it's really something that is going to have to be worked on because it takes too long. Just takes too long.
Yeah, it just takes too long, and it's you end up in the same with the approval, but it's just it takes years instead of something that I think could potentially take
Yeah,
months, that improves people's lives. I
yeah,
think but I just wanted to sort of hop on this point that like there has to be an active process for reducing rules and regulations, because otherwise they just keep building up every year,
yep,
and you get like hardening of the arteries, and eventually everything's illegal or takes forever, and then we just we just ossify as a society. Uh, we can't make any
yeah.
progress, and that's it's a really big
Well,
deal.
Elon, just
So
getting back to the FDA for 1 second, I got something done called Right to Try. This is where you can go in and if you're terminally ill, you can use a space age, medicine or whatever it may be. We have the best doctors, the best labs in the world. We really do. And but people would go to other countries because you couldn't use the product, even if they thought it worked, because it's going through the FDA. I got it approved
yeah,
where you can
yeah,
you basically you look, nobody wanted, the doctors didn't want it because of the liability, the country didn't want it, our country, because they didn't want to get sued. These are people terminally ill. The insurance companies didn't want it, and the pharmaceutical companies, nobody wanted it. I got everybody into a room, and we came up with an agreement that you won't get sued. And also, they didn't want it on their record. If somebody's terminally ill and they die after taking a drug, they didn't want that on their record. So we set a separate list. If somebody was, so it wouldn't count as a negative.
yeah,
Okay. And as you know, we got it
yeah,
done. We have saved Right to Try. They've been trying to get this done for 58
yeah,
years. And it sounds simple, but it wasn't because of, the insurance companies, nobody wanted it, but we got it done.
sure,
You sign a document that you're not going to sue the insurance companies, the country, you're not going to sue anybody. And we got it done. And we're saving tens of thousands of lives. Right to Try. Hopefully you never need it. But if you
yeah,
do, you don't have to travel to Asia. People,
right,
if they had money, they go to
yeah,
Asia, they go
sure,
to Europe. If they don't have money, they go home and die. That's what happened. They'd go home and
yeah.
die.
Well, I mean, and actually, to give Europe some props here, it's like if a drug is approved in Europe, which has a crazy amount of regulations, it should obviously be approved in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, they got more regulations than we do. So why would a drug be approved in Europe and not in the U.S.? That's crazy.
Well, we did it. We did
Um,
something that really, they've been trying to do it for 50 years and they just couldn't get it done. And I got it done. And it's really something. But you're right. Some people go to Europe because a drug isn't approved here, but it's approved in Europe. And it's a drug that, generally speaking, would
yeah,
work. It's pretty crazy. You're
absolutely.
right.
And I think so long as people are properly informed of the pros and cons and like these are the risks, this is the risk, and like you make your own decision.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, I think just,
So
in sort of closing up, and by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get
yeah.
nervous because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. How many? What is the number? Wow. What is it?
Well,
Wow.
I think in
Wow,
terms of
that's a
people
that's a
that
big that's bigger than you said. You said 25 and you're much more than double that number, 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70. And I guess over a period of time, hey, I congratulate you. Do I get paid for this or not?
well, I think actually in terms of the number of people that will hear this conversation over the next few days to
Right.
weeks, it's going to be hundreds of
That's what they
millions.
say. Yeah, that's good. Well, look, it's an
Yeah.
honor. But I just asked this, are you better off now or were you better off when I was president? Nobody's better off now. People, we put out polls on that and nobody's better off now. Inflation has killed it. And they also feel very unsafe. You look at what's going on with a lot of different things. You look at the riots we had at the
Yeah.
colleges over, I mean, it's ridiculous, but
Right.
all of the riots, they just feel unsafe. And now they really feel unsafe because you have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. I call it Biden
Well,
migrant
yeah.
crime. Maybe I'll call it
Well,
Kamala migrant crime. But
I mean, with all these things, I always try to get to the ground truth by just asking people. And my mom lives in New York, and I was like, Mom, do have any of your friends, been attacked or assaulted? And she said, yeah, three of her friends in three separate
crazy.
incidents were assaulted just in recent months, just walking around the streets of New York.
Wow.
And I said, well, what happened to the people that assaulted them? Oh, nothing. They got away. Like, and they just
They
know that
always get away.
nothing's going. And they don't even they don't even bother reporting it because there's not. They know that there's not. They're not going to. People are not going to get prosecuted. They
Yep.
just let
Why waste your time?
violent criminals out in New York
The only one
with
that gets
zero bail.
prosecuted is Donald Trump. They prosecute Trump.
Yeah, I mean it's just obviously messed up
Oh, it's terrible.
if violent criminals are being getting off scot
Yep.
free, and meanwhile the New York spending massive resources prosecuting you, and it's like what's this and I think the sort of sensible public looks at this and says what the heck's going on here? This is obviously abuse of the legal system. Um, the legal system is supposed to be protecting the
That's right.
public from violent criminals, and it should be obviously allowing the public to make their own decision about who should be president, as opposed to some legal case.
Once they start this precedent, because this can go on with the next one. I mean, this is a very bad precedent what they're doing in terms of going after their political opponent, and that's all it is. It's going after their political opponent,
Yeah.
and then you get a judge who's a strong Democrat, and I'm being nice when I say that. In many cases, crooked as hell. But you get a judge and you go into an area where a Republican gets 3 or 4% of the vote, and you'll have a jury pool
Yeah.
with people that hate Republicans or hate. It could
Sure.
also be the other way though,
Of course.
because it could start the other way in areas where they hate
Exactly.
Democrats, and you get into a
Yep.
Pandora's box. It's a very dangerous thing for this country, and a very dangerous thing even for the state. New York City is
Yep.
losing. New York
Absolutely.
City and state lose a lot of business over what they did to me, because these people say we don't want that to happen to us. That's no justice system. You have an unfair system of
Yes.
justice, and it's costing New York State a tremendous amount of money. People are leaving and companies are leaving, and they won't come back. So all of that stuff is important, but the economy now is the big thing, and we can turn that economy up so fast. and people are going to be back again. We're going to get rid of
Yeah,
inflation.
I think there's a lot of
Right.
opportunity. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So
And I just
I
want to
think I
I want to
think
congratulate you. You've done an amazing job. You have definitely got a fertile mind. You know, we can talk. You and I can talk about rockets and
it's kind of you to say. Thank
well
you.
tunnels. We can talk about tunnels and rockets and electric cars. So many things. And now you're into the AI, and that's going to be another beauty, I'll say. So
Yeah.
it's an amazing thing you've done, Elon. It's an amazing thing, and I
Well,
congratulate you.
I mean, thank you. And well, I mean, I just say here, here's to an exciting, inspiring future that people can look forward to and be optimistic and excited about what happens next. And that's the kind of future that I think you will bring as president, and that's why I endorse you.
Well, I appreciate that. That endorsement meant a lot to me. Not all endorsements mean that much, to be honest. Your endorsement meant a lot. And, we have a phrase, make America great again. It's pretty simple, but it really says that we want to make America great again. And we can do it. We can do it now. But if we were going to suffer another 4 years like we've suffered for the last 4 years, I'm not sure the country can ever come back. That's how bad it is. It's so bad. We have to do a
I
lot of
think that's a
things.
very real
Yeah,
risk.
it's a big
That's a
risk.
very real risk.
Yeah.
And it's I'd just like to note to people listening, like I've not been very political before, and if you look at my record, I've actually been I'm not like some they try to paint me as like a far right guy, which is absurd because I'm like making electric vehicles and solar and batteries helping with the
Right.
environment, and and I actually I supported Obama. I stood in line for 6 hours to shake Obama's hand when he was running
Wow.
for president, and so it's not like I'm like some sort of dyed in the wool long-term Republican. I call myself, uh, historically a moderate Democrat, but now I feel like we're really at a critical juncture for the country, and
That's a good
I think
take.
a lot of people thought the Biden administration would be a moderate administration, but it's not, and obviously we're just going to see an even further left uh, administration with Kamala. That's my honest opinion. I mean, her dad is literally. I mean, she was brought up as an actual. Her dad is a Marxist economist. You can Google it. I mean, it's not a. We're not making this up. That's how she was brought up. So, and we want to have a future that is prosperous. And I think we're just at this critical juncture, and I think this is a case of the America is going to at a fork in the road,
It's true.
and I think it will take if the path to, like you are the path to prosperity, and I think Kamala is the opposite. Then that's my honest opinion. I'm gonna get attacked like crazy, and I've also experienced quite a bit of lawfare myself, and but I'm just trying to tell people my honest opinion, and I haven't been really active in politics before, and I'm just trying to point out that my track record historically has been moderate, if not moderate, slightly left, and so this is to people out there who are in the moderate camp to say I think you should support um, Donald Trump for president. And I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if it goes the other way.
Well, I want to thank you. And, I actually always did think of you as somewhat left. I must say that. So it's
Yeah.
even more of an
Well,
honor to
yeah.
have your endorsement. I know how strong you feel about it. But, when you think of her, San Francisco 15 years ago, I had a great friend, Bob Tish. He said it's the greatest city in America. And now it's almost not livable there. And California likewise. And she was involved in the destruction of San Francisco and the
I live in
destruction of California.
California.
And she will be involved in the destruction of our country if people are so unwise as to
Don't CA the
elect her.
USA,
And I hope that
folks.
doesn't happen. And I hope the elections are going to be run honestly. And we're going to turn this country around. We're going to do things and we can do it fairly quickly. And we have to get rid of the criminals that have been, given to us by other countries as they laugh. They laugh at
Yeah.
us. They think we're stupid to accept these people. These are radical, stone cold killers in many cases and terrorists. And they're in our country by the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And we have to take
Yeah.
them out.
Yeah. I mean, if I could summarize it, perhaps, I think these are issues that I think most people in America would agree with, which is that we want safe and clean cities, we want secure borders, We want sensible government spending. We want to restore both the perception and reality of respect in the judicial system. Just stop the lawfare.
Yes. Yes. Correct.
And I think that's like, and how are those
Common
even
sense.
right wing positions? I think those are just that's just
Yes.
common sense.
Thank you.
And that's
Thank you.
I mean, would you agree with that?
100%. I don't understand, the whole, they call it progressive. They don't like the word liberal anymore, but call it liberal or progressive. I don't understand how somebody could say that it's okay for them to empty prisons into our country. And again, I told you their
Yeah,
crime rates
definitely
all
not
over the world
okay.
are going way down, which makes sense. In fact, the next time what we'll do is if something happens with this election, which would be a horror show, we'll meet the next time in Venezuela because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country. Okay. So we'll go, you and I will go and we'll have a meeting and dinner in Venezuela because that's what's happening. Their crime rate's coming down and our crime rate's going through the roof. And it's so simple. And you haven't seen anything yet because these people have come into our country and they're just getting acclimated. And they don't know about being politically correct law enforcement or lack of law enforcement. And our police, I have to just end with this. We have great police. We have great law enforcement, but they're not allowed to do their job. They have to be able to do their
Yeah.
job without being destroyed.
Well, absolutely, and it's obviously demoralizing if you're a police officer risking your life to to arrest violent criminals who could kill you and do kill you sometimes, and then you arrest the violent criminal and then the DA doesn't prosecute and they just let the guy out.
Right.
Well, then like why should a police officer risk their life to arrest a violent felon
Well, even worse,
if
Elon,
nothing's going to happen?
even worse, they prosecute the police officer. They go after it and they prosecute the police officer and they take away his pension. They take away his
Yeah.
job. He loses his family. He loses his house.
Well, I thought it was very telling, like incredibly telling, that when there was that case where sort of a gang of thugs beat up police officers. I think it was in Times
Yep.
Square in New York, and and then nothing happened to those guys. They were let out, zero bail, and I think a bunch of them were given free tickets to California. Well, what is I mean, that is a gross indignity against the United States, and that's how, I mean, this is insane. Like, have we lost all pride? How can such a
That's what
thing be
happens
allowed
when
to
you don't
occur?
I've
vet
never seen
people.
anything.
You know?
We see where they get shot. It's a very dangerous profession, but it's something they're very proud of, and they want to be able to do their job. But I've seen them get shot. I've seen a lot of things, but I've never seen where these guys are standing in the middle of a big street, everybody watching them, and they're literally boxing, like punching, stand up fighting a police officer. There were two of them, and you
Yeah,
had about six
yeah,
of
yeah.
these guys, and they're punching the hell out of them. And in their own country, they would be dead if they did that. They'd be shot. They
Yes.
would be shot instantly. And they come from these countries, and it's taking them a while to realize that we don't do that in this country. But in their own
Yeah,
country, if they stood on a street and had a fight with a police officer, they would be shot. There's no political correctness, and
yeah. It's
it's
just
such a sad thing to see. And that's the reason you have crime, by the way,
yeah,
because we don't do anything about
yeah.
it.
Yeah, we just cannot have a situation where our police officers are beaten up on camera by a gang of illegal immigrants, and then nothing happens to the guys that beat up the cops. I mean, and they're let out. This is
Well, we're going to
unacceptable.
change it,
Um,
and we're going to get them out of the country. When I first got involved, they said you couldn't get them back to these countries. You couldn't take them back. In the case of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, some others, you couldn't get them back. And I said, really? Oh, you can't get them back? Because under Obama, he couldn't get them back. They'd fly them in, and they'd put planes on the runways in these countries so you couldn't land the plane. They'd bring them back. And the generals told me, sir, we can't bring them back. The countries won't accept MS-13 gang members. They won't accept them. And I said, really, how much do we pay these various countries in terms of economic aid, which is also somewhat ridiculous? And the answer was $750 million. I said, good. Tell them they're in default. They're delinquent. We're not paying them anymore because they won't accept
yeah,
it.
it's
And you know what happened? They all called me,
yeah,
every one
yeah,
of them. They said, we would be honored to take them back, sir. We would be honored. It was so easy. But it's one of those things. And we got them back. We took in so many, the MS-13 is probably
yeah,
the worst gangs in the world. They're the most vicious, violent. We took them out of here by the thousands and got them out of here, and their countries took them back. And because I said you're not getting any more economic aid, and once I said that, they were nice. They wouldn't take them back for
Yeah,
Obama. They
yeah.
wouldn't take them back for anybody. And now we have a problem because we have this guy, and they don't take him back anymore with Biden because they don't respect him.
Yeah, yeah. It's just gotta be done. We just can't have whether they're citizens or not citizens. We can't have because they won't prosecute citizens either. Not just illegals. So that if it's you can't have violent repeat violent offenders that are not that don't get incarcerated
That's right.
because they will obviously by definition continue to hurt people and I think where part of this comes from is that there's and I do sort of consider myself liberal in some ways. I mean, it's just that you want to have empathy for
Right.
people. Obviously, you want to have empathy for people. I totally agree with that. You want to have empathy, but you also have to have empathy for the victims of the criminals. And if you just have empathy for the criminals, it's actually shallow empathy. It's not real. You're not thinking. You're one layer deep empathy. You got to say like, what if you don't incarcerate this person? Who are they going to hurt? Who are they might kill someone. They might rape someone. If you don't incarcerate them, you have to have empathy for the victims. And there's a lack of empathy for the victims of the criminals, and too much empathy for the criminals. It doesn't make sense. That's why you want to have deep empathy for society as a whole, not shallow empathy for
That's right.
criminals.
And we have to give our police officers the dignity and the respect that they deserve. And we
Exactly.
have to let them do their job. They can do a great job, but we have to let them do their job. And if we don't do that, it's going to all disappear. There's never been a society like this where you're allowed to do anything you want and nothing happens. And I'm talking about violent crime. And it's going to get more violent because these are really, really violent people. And we're going to get them out of our country and we're going to get them back to because they were sent here by the presidents and by the various people that run those countries. And I know every one of those guys. And they're smart people and they're streetwise people. And they really think that the USA is stupid. They think we're run by stupid people, and they happen to be right. But when I was there, we had no problem. We got them out. We took out thousands of MS-13 gang members. We brought them back. And now, again, it's the same old story. We don't do it. And they actually gave them a big increase in aid. They raised it up to billions of dollars, and they get nothing for it. So I hope everybody's going to vote for Trump, and we're going to get this country straight.
Yeah.
And I didn't need this.
I,
I'm like you. I didn't need this. I had a very nice
yeah.
life. I didn't need to go
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
court systems and go through all the other stuff and run at the
Sure.
same time. I have to run. I have to go through fake trials with, in some cases, corrupt judges, totally corrupt judges. I didn't need it. I had a nice life. I have great locations. I have beautiful oceans that I have places. But I felt it was important. And if I had to do it over again, you probably think I'm crazy for doing it, actually. But if I had to do it over again, I would have done it over again because this is so much more important than me or my life. We're going to save this country. This country is going down. And these people are bad people that we're running against, and they're liars. They make statements. They do things that are so bad. They say they're going to make a strong border. They say they've been great on the border, and they've been the worst in history. They say they're
Yeah,
going to
it's
stop
horrible. Like
crime,
the
and
facts speak for themselves. The
it's so
facts
incredible.
speak for themselves. Like it's gotten to the point where people just don't even bother reporting crime in a lot of
That's
cities
right.
because they know nothing is going to happen. Um, that's what I hear anecdotally from people all the time. So it's just my values. I'm just saying to people out there, like the things I think are important for the future is like we've got to have safe cities, we've got to have secure borders, we've got to have sensible spending, and we've got to have deregulation, and
Right.
so we can have a prosperous future. And then we want to have some exciting, sort of moonshot projects that people can get fired up about. And that's the future I'm looking for. And I'm pro environment, but I'm not against. I'm not like I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry because they're keeping civilization going right now. And but I do think we want to move, at a reasonable speed towards a sustainable energy economy. Those are my values, and I think, you know, and so I mean that's why I'm supporting you for president. You know,
Well, I
so
appreciate it. We're going to give incentive to companies to come into our country, not to leave our country. We're going to be giving tremendous incentives. We want companies to build here, not to build in other locations. And we want to create jobs. And again, it's about the American dream. You don't hear about the American dream anymore, Elon. You don't hear. You're the American dream in the truest sense, but you don't hear about the American dream anymore. And you're going to hear about it. People, they need that incentive to go out
yeah,
and do it. And they're going to love their lives. I mean, they're going to look forward to getting up in the morning and going to a job that they love, not a job that they can't stand, or not any job at all where they have no money, where they
yeah,
literally have no money, and then they end up with violence and lots of other problems. No, we're
yeah.
going to do some great things. And I learned a lot in the first. We had a great economy and all of that. We rebuilt the military, we did so much, but I also learned the best people. I learned the good people, the smart people, the dumb people, the people that can do things, the people, you learn. When I first came in, I tell people I was in Washington, D.C. only 17 times, according to the fake news media. I was in 17 times. I never stayed over. And you don't know people. You rely on other people to give you names, and then you realize the people you relied on weren't so good. Now, we had great people, but we also had some where I wouldn't have, used them had I known. Now I
Yeah.
know everybody. And I think we're going to really turn things around fast. We have no choice. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country. And I really appreciate this. To me, it's been a lot of fun being with you. You're an amazing guy. You've done an incredible job and a great inspiration to people, a great inspiration. And I hope you keep going and just continue to do well. And we're going to have a big election coming up. And I think November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. I think that election will be the most important election. And I think it'll end up being maybe the most important day in the history of our country, because if
Yeah.
we don't win, I just feel so sorry for everybody.
No, I think we're at a fork in the road of destiny of civilization, and I think we need to take the right path, and I think you're the right path. So I think
Well,
that's what it comes down to.
thank you very much, Elon. It's a great honor, and we'll do it again sometime. And it's been really fun, and I hope you got a lot of viewers. I hear you got a lot, but I hope you
Sure.
got
Yeah.
I know you got a lot of them. So I appreciate it. I'll see you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Elon. Thank you very much. Bye.
Wow. Well, there you have it, folks. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, over 2 hours conversation. I mean, you're not going to see that from Joe Biden. You're not going to see that from folks. You don't see that from too many people. Kudos to him and by the way, it's late where he's at. I mean, remember, I think he's in Mar-a-Lago right now. There is something I want to play here though. I want to check this out. So, see if we can get a clip here. This right here.
Record that conversation and post it. It would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every
That's the audio. You guys hear that?
With so many millions of people, and it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And
Yes, sir.
See, so it's just the compression you guys are getting through the phone. He sounds normal there, right? So I think he could have had dental work, but I think it's just the compression that's coming through, right?
congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people, and it's an honor.
So, people saying stroke. If the guy had a stroke, do you think he's going to sit there and have a 2-hour conversation like that? If he could have a stroke and a 2-hour conversation, yeah, I think that speaks volumes. Well, folks, always appreciate you hanging back. I know it was a long stream. We've been streaming for over 3 hours. So I streamed in the morning before work. I went to work. I came back and streamed some more, and I greatly appreciate all your guys' donations, the likes, the subscriptions, like all that stuff, you guys. It's greatly appreciated. This is why we do it. We do it for the community, and we got to get out and vote this November. We'll be back here tomorrow 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for our normal podcast. If you don't follow us on YouTube or Rumble yet, what are you doing? Go over and follow. You're always here anyways. You might as well just hit that like button and support us over here. If you're not engaged in the live chat, we got a lot of regulars, folks. They're always ranting and raving in there, having a good old time, and I love reading them. So if you're able, log into your YouTube or Rumble account and hang out with us in the live chat. It'd be really great to see all you. So with that being said, folks, I got some work to do. I still got to prepare for tomorrow's episode. I got to do the thumbnail. I got to do all sorts of stuff to get ready, folks. We're going to do the second half of what we weren't able to cover today. We're going to talk about the White House press briefing tomorrow. We got all sorts of stuff, folks. We got it all packaged and prepared for you. If you haven't already, you can hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below. And while we're at it, you know what? We might as well do it, right? Let's just do it. Let's do it right now. Let's give a shout out to Positive before we get at it. We're going to end it, but I see it up here. So do you rely on big woke corporations and the corrupt medical establishment to keep you healthy, folks? I hope not. Then why would you trust some globally owned corporation to keep your pet healthy? I absolutely love this guy. I grew up with animals. It's time we stop relying on them for anything. They hate us. They don't want us. They don't like us. They want to keep us sick. And they, quite frankly, they just want your money. They don't care any values that you have. Well, over at Rumble, they started what was called Positive Health. And we've talked about this before. They're great sponsors because pets are an extension of our family. We love them to death. And it matters that they get clean and nutrient-filled, vitamin-rich superfoods to stay healthy and happy. If you're going to eat, you're a mammal, you got to sit there and take care of your pets as well. That's why they created a range of superfood supplement waffles that your pet will love. These are not something you should be eating, but if you do, you'll get swole as well. Packed with natural, healthy ingredients that promote better digestive support, bone health, vision, and immune strength. They're also rich in anti-inflammatories, vitamins, minerals, essentials for your furry little friend and, quite frankly, furry little family members. So head over to positive.com. That's positive, P-A-W, right now to check out your superfoods and other products. Use studio as the code for 15% off. If you haven't already, a lot of them are code studio. Make sure you guys get those deals and take care of your pet, take care of your friends and family. Might be a great gift idea as well. So with that being said, folks, thank you always so much for the love and kindness that we have with one another. Oh, you guys want to do Lee Greenwald one more time? Javier, you're in here. When the hell did you get in here, Javi? You guys want... Okay, yeah, you're right. We should do... Okay, let's do Lee Greenwald. All right, you guys want to do it again? Maybe all the people at the bar where Kathleen's working will be rocking out with us. All right, here we go. Hold on. Is it not playing? Oh, it's muted. I'm talking when the thing's muted. You ask, you shall receive, my friends. Couldn't be more than happy to hang out with you fine patriots each and every day. Join us tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, folks, for another episode of The Bald Brad Show. With that being said, I will see you tomorrow here on The Bald Brad Show. Take care, patriots.